And we are live. So guys, welcome to Brew York's live YouTube of 58.
We haven't got Joanna to cheerlead us today.
Referring to the script already, like you couldn't remember it's the 58.
Yeah, because 58 is a number that just sticks in my mind all the time. So 58 live YouTube session. It's been a while. We haven't done one of these since August, so sorry about that. But things have been a bit hectic as always, and before we knew it, Christmas was upon us, and we were like, we need to get this squeezed in just in time for a little break for Christmas. So you may or probably may not recognise where we are today because it's changed a little bit since some of you might have been in. We're actually in the Taproom in Warmgate, so the original, the home of Brew York. So 10 years ago, believe it or not, 10 years ago, December the 10th,
we took the lease on this place.
Exactly, December 10th, 20.
So we are 10 years and 6 days old. Yeah.
1995, yeah. We took the lease of this place and started what became Brew York. So it's quite nice to be in here 10 years later and actually to try and encourage people back into the tap room a bit more because we love this place. This is where we like to drink, but everyone else seems to love the beer hall upstairs. So we're trying to get people to come back down to the tap room and enjoy it as much as we do. So we wanted to do the tasting here to show people who haven't had a chance to come down what we've been doing. It's not finished. This is stage one, and we'll talk more about that later on. But we're trying to lean on our experience over the last few years to try and encourage people back down into here. If you don't know, my name's Wayne. I'm the MD at Brew York.
That must be me, Lee. I'm the other co-founder and the production director of Brew York.
And I've got a cheeky starter pint, so I'm just trying to sip while we go along. So welcome to our live audience. We've got a few of you in tonight. We'll maybe pan around a bit later on once we've got some cameras on and show everybody. And welcome to people at home. Anyone who's joining at home on a Tuesday night in December, thank you. It's I know it's a strange night, but we're trying to fit it in, and Fridays just wouldn't work this time of year. So hopefully, if you can't watch us live, you can watch us back and enjoy it with some beers later on in the week. So one thing we always mention at this point is we're going to be drinking 4 beers tonight, and one of the beers will taste much, much better once it's warmed up. So if you can get your Nightmare of Brew York, is it Nightmare? Are we doing both?
No.
All right.
We can't do the other one because we sold out of the other one and forgot to hold some back for this session.
Okay.
So the barrel aged one we can't do tonight. We're just going to be doing Nightmare.
But it says Fairytale on the script.
Also, there are 2 stouts. Yes.
Oh. So the prompt says get 1 beer out, but actually get 2 beers out.
Which is perhaps a little bit too late because the first of those is going to be the second beer up. But get it out and do Wayne's old trick. Put it in your armpit.
It'll warm up quick enough. So yeah, get your Fairytale and your Nightmare out. They're going to taste better once they warm up. Nightmare, hopefully, will have a bit more time. And then the other beers, they're going to be nice cold, so enjoy them cold later on. And Lee will tell you what those beers are. We pretty much covered it, but...
Right, so we're going to be starting out with a new Christmas beer this year, Rudolf Reigns, one that was predominantly done on cask, 4.1%. A small amount of that made it into can. Hopefully you've got some of that in front of you. We're then moving on to the first Christmas beer we ever did that eventually launched a range of beers. We have Fairytale of Brew York, which this year is a walnut whip flavoured 4.9% milk stout. We then move on to Dreams of Brew York, which is the sour we do every Christmas. And this year is a berry Pavlova pastry sour, big mouthful. And then we're going to conclude with Nightmare, which is always the reincarnation of the previous year's Fairytale, but elevated to 8.5%. So that means this year it's a Florentine Imperial milk stout. So a bit chocolatey, a little bit nutty. So we're going to be sampling each of those, and at the same time we're going to be doing a little bit of content. There's a lot to catch you up on. So we'll be talking about our highlights of the last 4 months. We'll be talking to you about what's been going on in the brewery. We'll be talking to you about the various and many things that have gone on with the bars and where we're taking those. And then we'll conclude tonight's session talking about some upcoming beers. So we've got a lot of spoiler stuff for you coming later on. More than normal. And I'm not going to get told off for it this time because it's all written down. We're going to tell you everything we're doing beer-wise for the birthday. And there is a lot. And we're going to tell you about some other major releases we have coming for next year. And then we've got some teaser stuff about big events that we're going to be appearing at in the next sort of 4 to 5 months.
And the live audience, I can almost guarantee there'll be even more spoilers after the streaming started. It's one of those days.
So, as always, we want this to be as entertaining as it possibly can be. So we need it to be interactive. So if you're in the room, stick your hand up at the right point. If you have a question, we'll come to you as soon as we can. If you're online, you have the ability to type your question below the video, and then our team, Pete, Andrew, will flag to us if your question is clean, sensible, and good enough.
And we've got a guest in the audience now. We've got Ian from Bathhouse, who kindly took us to America in September and got us very, very drunk, very, very often. So we gave him the fun task of wearing one of the Christmas jumpers along us tonight. And because we've got the heaters on, it's sweltering, and he's already taken his off, and we can't do that. So we're going to have to like sweat through it. So he's making us jealous already.
Yes, we are getting one finger salutes off camera.
But it's Christmas. We need to make the effort a little bit. And yeah, they seem to be getting tighter every year, these jumpers. I don't understand what the link is there.
Yeah, well, we were saying that earlier. We've done this a number of years, and I think this is my third iteration of Christmas jumper, because I swear Polly is just making the shrink and the wash. That's definitely what's happening.
Yeah. The once a year wash it gets. So yeah, if you like the videos and you want to, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. If you want to interact, please send your messages to info@brewyork.co.uk or type your questions on the screen, and Pete will get on the mic later and he'll wrap them to us in the special Christmas edition.
That wasn't part of the agreement.
Well, Ian will help you. If you need a bit of help, he loves a bit of impromptu wrapping.
I'm sensing a wrap.
Ian will do it in the style of Will Smith.
So before we go any further, I think you guys at home need to pour the first can. We need to stop holding you back. It's called Rudolf Reigns. Everyone in the live audience has got it already. We're doing a little bit different if you're in the live audience today. Everyone's got it on draft. We figured we stood behind a bar, we should pour them on draft. And then we realised that we probably couldn't pour them while we're doing the stream. So Andrew's been roped in off camera over there. He's the temporary barman tonight. So we've got Rudolf Reigns in cask, and everyone at home's got it in can. It was a special release this year based on something we found last year. So we've been doing our Christmas beers now since we started Brew York. So 10 years of Fairytale. And one of the things, as we've iterated over the years and we've added more to the collection, is we've never had a pale ale in the collection. And pale ales are the biggest selling beer, full stop. So, or not full stop, lagers outsell them, but there's the biggest selling real beer as opposed to lagers. And we started last year by doing a twist on our signature beer, Karma Chameleon. We did the Clementine Chameleon. But this year we wanted to give it a bit more time and attention. Wanted to brew something that we thought would be a little bit, I don't know, give it a bit more love. And it worked, because this beer has been selling really, really well. So much so that we didn't have any to do the live tasting tonight, and we had to dash around and dig a firkin out to bring to site yesterday to tap and vent. So it hasn't had much time to condition, but it's looking pretty good. I haven't tasted it yet, but hopefully it tastes good.
So we did have some on site, but I was in here last Friday with a number of other people, and we took a particular liking to this beer. So I think we were part of the reason why we ran out of the beer here. So we had to get another firkin rushed in. So yeah, this beer, like Wayne has said, is a new addition to our Christmas range. It seems like a bit of a no-brainer. I don't know why we didn't think to do something pale and accessible before. What we were also trying to do with this is we're running a bit of a trial. So we've decided that Keras, which is one of our existing signature beers, one of our all-year-round beers, we've decided that it isn't where we want it to be in terms of sales, in terms of flavour profile, for me in terms of the levels of bitterness. So what we want to do is audition a couple of things for a potential slot in our core range. The first of those things is Rudolf Reigns. The other is a beer called Whitmer Hopmergate, which if you're not from York, you will not understand at all. We have the shortest street in the country, where the sign for the street is about the length of the street. And it's called Whitmer Hopmergate. Oh, no, Whitmer Hopmergate. And we've decided as a tribute to call it Whitmer Hopmergate. So that's why, and we've done a single hop citra beer called Whitmer Hopmergate. So we're kind of showcasing both those at the minute. They're on the bar next to each other over here. We drank both of them earlier tonight, as per usual. Myself and Wade are divided. I like the one we're drinking now, Rudolf Reigns. He likes the citra one. I think if we brought the level of bitterness up in the citra one, I might be swayed. But we are very interested to hear people's feedback. So certainly those of you that are in the room tonight, please try both beers. and let us know what you think, because it's important. One of those will have a future, one of them will not.
And it's not that I don't like this beer. I actually really like both those beers. I just, I'm in the bar mindset of what do our team and our different venues, how do they push and promote beers, and how do they differentiate between them? And we just have a lot of bitter in the range. So we have a pale ale Karma, which is bitter, and cask range I'm talking here. We have a bitter called Maris, which is a bitter. And then currently we have Keris, which is also quite bitter. So if you want to drink and you don't like bitter, I want something a little bit different to offer them. And that's why I think Whitmer Hoppergate works quite well, because as a Citra hop beer, it's not too bitter. But this beer actually isn't that bitter. It isn't anywhere near as bitter as some of our pales we do, which is also quite...
Anyway, you've heard the lobbying. Make your own decision shortly. Let us know what you think. In terms of the beer we have here, it might be a little bit familiar. There was a beer we made earlier in the year that was a collab with Keller Island that we called Yorkshire Rider. We thought that was quite possibly the best cask pale we made this year. Not overly complicated, nice and easy to drink. It was a tribute to their iconic beer, Pale Rider, which they make with Cascade and Chinook. And we combined that with Centennial, still hungry. We combined that with Centennial. So you're getting kind of piney, a little bit of kind of grapefruity type character, a little bit of citrus going on in there. And we really loved that. So we made some minor tweaks and we brought that back for the season as Rudolf wins. Oh my God, Joanna is in the house. Oh dear, yeah.
So we've had some of the Brew York team turn up. So we're going to have the volume turned up, I guess, a bit now. I was going to say temperature, but it's already warm enough.
Have you been drinking, Joanna? Yeah, okay. So we brought this back. I've already explained that it's a bit of a showcase. We want to pick between these two beers for the future in our core range. So please do let us know what you think. I know you can't taste both online, but you can certainly let us know what you think about this particular beer.
We'll have to maybe...
That is a good point, Alan. It will not be called Rudolf Friends, and that reminds me of a little point I've got here, which is ignore the names, as the new core beer will have a new animal-themed name to fit with everything else in our core.
Rudolf, that's an animal-themed name.
It's technically true, yes.
Lee, we've got a couple of people in the comments saying they're having a Drakkar instead. Is there anything you could say about that beer?
Yes, I could say that I don't remember what hops we put in it.
It was on at the weekend on cask. It was really, really popular.
So that was our collab with Brew Tune,
yeah,
out of Aberdeen. And
hazy pale.
It was a hazy pale
4.1
that we fermented with a Crike yeast and hops that we put in it. What? Anyway, was that where we put cushion, or was it Dulcita? No, Ridgewalker was Dulcita. I know.
We did 2 hazy pales on cask at the same time.
Yusuf, look up to
Look faster.
This is the problem when you do a minimum of 52 new beers a year. I cannot remember them all, and I don't design them all. Although
that probably was you.
I think I might have done that one actually.
It was really nice, really, really popular at the weekend. It was a little bit lively on cask, so it was everyone's favourite to pour, but it was good. It's a nice beer.
I am starting to show my age in more ways than one. I've just been to the hospital today, I don't mind saying, because I sneezed the other week and I have torn a muscle in my back. I thought I had a hernia. Turns out I've only torn a muscle in my back by sneezing. Right, the hops are... Yeah.
Idaho 7 and Nelson.
Idaho 7 and Nelson.
Got a good story about Idaho 7.
Oh, doff. Right, here we go again. Right. Why do they call it Idaho 7, Wayne? You can tell the story this time.
Because it's on the 7th aisle.
7th aisle? Yeah, they found it in a supermarket.
And it was on aisle 7 in the hop farm.
So in a hop field in Idaho, they found a hop growing wild in row 7, which is why they opted to call it Idaho 7, because they clearly have no imagination.
Did you notice our hop specialist disappeared just exactly at the same time that question came up?
Just as well.
It's not his.
Just as well, because I'm sure he would have told us everything we just said was completely bollocks anyway.
And is it not proprietary to another brand?
No.
Oh,
no. Yeah. Simcoe's the one that's proprietary to the other guys.
So speaking of which, Lee didn't write these prompts how we described them earlier. He said, what have you enjoyed since we last caught up? But what he wrote in the prompts is, what have we been up to? So there's some things in here which have been good. There's some things in here that I wouldn't say I enjoyed, I've just been doing them. So we've got a lot of overlap because there's been some big things that have been going on the last few months. So we went to America, we mentioned that before. We went to New York for a couple of days, and then we went to Yakima to do the hop selection for Bathhouse this year, or to help them. There was a group of about 8 or 10 of us at breweries, and we all got to select which hops that Bathhouse are bringing into the UK from Haas, which is their parent company or sister company, from their farms in Yakima. It was really, really cool, and we got to have such a big impact on what you guys are going to taste in beers full stop this year from other brewers in the UK who'll be buying those hops. So that was nice, and yeah, we got very, very spoiled. I can't remember how much weight I put on.
Very, very something else.
I think it was about I think it was about 3 and a bit kilos I put on in a week over there, which was good.
I was just saying to Ian earlier that we were out there for 10 days between New York and Yakima and Washington, and I don't think I ate a single vegetable. So by the time we got back to the UK, I just wanted to eat plate after plate of vegetable. My body was absolutely craving for it.
Thank God I wasn't sharing a hotel room with him after all those vegetables. So that was pretty good. We had a bit of rubbish things to deal with. So in the room we are now, the tap room, we unfortunately had a fire just before we flew to America. So in the beer garden, it burnt down. So our rear tap room overlooking the river burnt down in September.
Those of you in the room, if you look top right of the mural, you can see all the smoke damage where it started to come through the air vent there. So somebody walking past at about 3:30 in the morning saw the fire from the other side of the river and flagged it to the fire brigade. If someone hadn't have done that, we might have lost the whole building, because you can see the flames were starting to ingress at that point in time.
So yeah, we're really lucky, but unfortunately the insurers are being very, very slow, which is frustrating. So our insurers have been brilliant, but because it's a combination of our landlords and ours to sort things out, the landlords' insurers are very, very slow. So we still haven't even got the windows reinstated yet, let alone anything else done. And this was 4 months ago, or 3 months ago. So frustrating, but it's winter. We don't really need that beer garden right now. So at least everything else was working and we didn't lose the building. So every cloud and all that. Well, so venue branding concept. So been talking to a few people in person tonight before we went live on the stream. So what are we going to do and how do we differentiate the different venues we have? And I think we've mentioned them on stream before. We have our traditional tap room, or our tap rooms. We have our Inns with Character, which is our traditional pubs where we have rooms above them. And then we have our new Brew Plus venues. So we want to make it crystal clear when you go into one of those venues what the place should look and feel like and what the beer selection should be, and try and get that consistency going. So we've been doing a lot of work on that behind the scenes. So yeah, this isn't necessarily what I've had a great time and enjoyed doing. This is just what I've been busy with. I did enjoy a very small short break I had to Haworth with Sal, my partner. Unfortunately, I was peak flu at that point, so I was about 2 weeks into a 3.5 week flu period. So I had a good day. The alcohol kicked in, and I forgot about all the rest of it. And then the next day, I had a recovery day. So it was a good break of alternating flu plus getting pissed. So that was fun. One thing I've been doing, which has been really cool, is working on the food menus for Ghoul. So Ghoul's going to be the Brew Plus, full-on Brew Plus concept, where we've got all the food vendors. We've got the Brew and Bow. We're going to have Brew and Slice. We're going to have Brew and Burger. Brew and... I can't remember what you call the one. Treat? No. Treats.
That's the coffee one, yeah?
And so the Slice that we've been working on, the pizza developments, that's been pretty good. I absolutely love pizza. Burgers, we've been working on a little bit of work on that, and yeah, we're looking forward to progressing those. What else? Staff party. So our company get together, we do once a quarter. So we did it in the old tap room a few months back. And what was really, really cool this time is we tried to make the awkward bits where the company are like, right, we've got some ice team building exercises and all the rest of it. This time we tried to make them a bit more fun and practical. Did things like pouring beers and talking about the beers we have, which is just really, really good to do now that we're such a big company or big team. And then, the other fun job of doing standards and consistency. So Joanna's in the room. She knows how fun SOPs are. She's been helping us sort those out. So now that we're getting bigger, all the venues we want to look and feel the same. We want them to work the same. So lots of fun things to do in between having drinks with you guys. So that's lots of fun stuff I've been working on.
So my list, you've obviously looked at my list and thought I've only done fun stuff, which I kind of have, but that wasn't the intention. It was just, what have we been doing in the last 4 months or so? So yeah, top of my list.
Boring stuff. We have to do all the fun stuff.
Top of my list was the pilgrimage across the US to do hop harvest for the first time in 10 years. We have been invited previously, and if I'm right in, you only get invited every 7 years or so. So now we've been. Maybe in 7 years' time we get invited again, because there's lots of other breweries that deserve to have that privilege. But if you want to make it less,
what if we did a German hopped beer? Could we get an invite to Germany?
I think we should maybe do a New Zealand hop.
Oh yeah,
an Australian hop one.
Bring back
anyway,
Brewers Gold.
So yeah, it was amazing to be out there and to see the level of detail and consideration that they put into hop selection. One of my favourite parts of it was actually sat in a classroom, learning how to taste a beer, learning how to sensory assess hops, and there's so much more to it than you'd appreciate. And I have to say, for all I've had 10 years of exposure of working with hops, to be in that room where you've then got to assess 14 different batches of Citra back to back. And Ian said to me at the start, do you want an antihistamine? I was like, no, I've had one. Half an hour later, I was back up. Can I have that antihistamine, please? Because it is so overwhelming to your senses. I was red in the first, I was sneezing. And to be honest, by the end of it, I wasn't really seeing the distinction between the hops. It is completely overwhelming. So for those people who do that on a day-to-day basis and who can make that distinction between that thing being a little bit more pineapple-y than it is oniony or garlicky, and selecting true to type, so making sure that they get the thing that is most representative of Citra for that year is quite a skill. So yeah, thank you, Ian. It truly was an amazing once-in-a-lifetime experience to be out there.
The real thank you to Ian was as soon as we arrived, we flew into Portland, and then we had the first night, because we got there quite late, and then everyone else we met with the next morning, and we obviously went to go get a massive donut from this place called Voodoo Donut at 7 a.m. or whatever daft time it was in America. And Ian came across and met us, and then took us straight to a bar where we could get our Bloody Mary, espresso martini. Like, I got a flight of cocktails, and one of the guys we were with had a Bloody Mary with chicken.
With a chicken swizzle thing coming out of the top of it.
Yeah, it was the chicken and biscuits. It was over the top, but it was good, and it was nice and early, and it set us off on pretty much the right track for the rest of the week. And please don't ask me and Ian about McDonald's blue slushies. They will.
Certainly don't ask them what happens the day after you've had one. Anyway, I've also been lucky enough to have some time out from the business, and I've been away to Rhodes with my wife, which was stunning. Weather a bit mixed, but I had a beautiful time and some amazing food. I have to give a shout out to a team that we sponsor, York Knights, who have finally got promoted to the Super League. So I don't know whether that means we can afford to be involved with them anymore, but it's amazing to have been part of their journey at least to get them to this point. We had the employee get-together, which Wayne's already mentioned, but I just want to focus on one little thing. So in this brewery behind us here, we debuted something that we've had made, which we're calling our hops on the brain now, our beer balance game. So you have two handles and strings.
Actually, I think that name's going to take off.
Beer
balance game.
Yeah, we'll come up with a better name for it. And you have a glass here that is inside a bit of wood, and you control that, and you need to move the glass to your mouth and angle it like this, and then it's whoever consumes all of the drink first wins the game. So we had 3 of these things made, and it was me versus Yusuf, who is our sales director over to the right, versus I think Adam, who is our assistant manager from Old Grey Mare. We went up first to show how people not to do it. And then we had other people having a go. And the reason I'm mentioning this now is because this is something we want to use at our upcoming events. So certainly if you're going to be at our birthday bash next April, you will have the chance to make an idiot of yourselves in the same way that we did at our staff get-together.
What we will do for our birthday is remember the plastic pint glasses. because we forgot to bring them. And glass, you can't put the glass in the holder.
That would just get messy.
So instead, someone decided to use our stainless steel cocktail jugs. So bearing in mind, this pendulum was swinging towards people's faces, and if it wasn't the wood hitting them in the face, it'd be stainless steel on your teeth. And I just couldn't watch anyone do it.
It's better that than glass. And we did eventually get Wayne up to have a go after some encouragement.
I was pretty crap. I was with Andrew actually over there, and we had Chris from the finance team who was slow and steady wins the race, and about 20 minutes. So we were like, "Are we going to start yet?" And eventually, me and Andrew has done it before. He just drank his in no time. I poured mine down myself, and about 15 minutes later, Chris finished. I think he didn't spill a drop because
Chris, the accountant, made sure he didn't spill a drop. Who would have thought, eh? We also were at York Press Business Awards a couple of weeks ago. We didn't win, but it was really nice to be there to have.
List.
But it was really nice to be there to get some acclaim for our team, and to get some recognition for all that they do to make us what we are. So we were nominated for Manufacturer of the Year, and we were also up for Small Business of the Year for Old Grey Mare. So we had a lovely night with the team. We appreciated it, everybody, even if we didn't win on that particular night. But I'm sure there will be other opportunities.
I hope so. Old Grey Mare. Melissa's in the room from York Camera. Old Grey Mare won Camera Pub of the... Oh, sorry. And Carl, sorry. Won Pub of the Season. So awards are in January. Do we have a date? January the 16th. So anyone from York who wants to come down and help us celebrate that, January the 16th, we think. And I'm guessing, is it going to be around 7 p.m.-ish?
Yes.
7 p.m.? And we best put that in our diaries because...
When is it?
January.
January the 16th.
Okay, I don't think I've got anything in for that yet, but...
So yeah, really, really pleased to... the team has done an amazing job at the Old Grey Mare. We're so pleased of how that has worked. And thankfully, everyone else seems to like it because we got nominated and managed to win the Pub of the Season. So pretty awesome.
Catherine from 6, presentation at 7:30.
Cool. Hopefully by that time we'll maybe have our new Cask's signature beer on under a festive name like Rudolf or...
we shall see. And then last couple of bits. I had my 47th. I know I don't look old enough. Birthday a few weeks ago. My wife took me away to Nesborough. We stayed in one of our venues, the Mitre, overnight, and then we moved on to Harrogate, and we had amazing food and drink. And I've got to tell you all about a place in Harrogate called Stuzzi, which is an Italian place. We went for breakfast, and I had literally the best breakfast I've ever had in my life. It was deviled kind of eggs, cooked in a tomato sauce, made with andouille, sprinkled with chili flakes, which I know seems a little bit insane for breakfast. And then I had an Italian sausage on the side, which isn't a euphemism. Italian sausage being kind of fennel and garlic. And it was absolutely stunning. I've been looking up the recipe. I want to try and recreate this stuff. I believe they also have a restaurant in Leeds. I'm not being paid to do this. Honestly, incredible. Absolutely stunning food. So I cannot wait to get back there and have that.
How many readies did you have afterwards?
That's pretty good, actually. Unusual for me. And then finally, I just want to give a shout out to every member of our team who has, on the production and distribution side of things, just endured the busiest period we have ever known in terms of the amount of beer we have had to produce, package, and then distribute, and then sell and then distribute. Unfortunately, that burden now passes on to the likes of the people who run these bars, because now you're all flocking into these places to consume all that beer that has been made. So a big shout out to them, who are now going to have to deal with the intensity of that.
And it's not just the intensity of dealing with that, it's this time of year in particular. You guys all know it, because not many people venture into York in December who live in York, because it's intense. Lots of people shouting, treating bar staff horribly, but they grin and bear it and they get through some crazy volumes. So they do an amazing job. So yeah, like Lee said, thank you for that, and thanks to all the rest of the team who managed to get the beer to everybody in the first place. So is it time for another beer? Because I mean, I'm almost finishing my chaser beer now.
There we are.
And it's 30 minutes.
We do
31
have
minutes
some.
past, so we're 1 minute late.
There's yours. Oh, we didn't do any questions there.
And we've got. Are you guys really served everyone cast beer in a schooner glass?
We've run out of half pint glasses. That's why.
Oh, so is Andrew not doing the glass cleaning very well? You're gonna run out of schooners.
I'm gonna own this one for Andrew. He did ask, and I said use those glasses. So there you go.
Well, to be fair, it's not like I threw you under the bus in front of a live stream or anything. So we might have mentioned this beer earlier. So it's Fairytale of Brew York. So one of the longest serving beer in our Christmas range. So Fairytale of Brew York version 1 was an eggnog milk stout, eggnog white stout.
I remember that.
Which was a lot of fun.
It was made in a vessel right there. So it was a white stout in which we put cinnamon sticks and we put it in a bag, and I had it suspended from the top. And you decided
spirals.
And you decided that the flavour wasn't infusing
bourbon
quick
spirals.
enough.
It wasn't
so
quick enough.
He emptied it out of the bag and poured it into the vessel. And then we took the beer out. I was like, "How are you now going to get them out of there?"
I didn't need to.
So I had to climb in one of these doors, and then put my back against the wall like that, and reach down to grab these like cinnamon spirals at the bottom of the vessel, which kind of would have been okay if I'd remembered to turn the cooling off on the vessel.
I bear in mind this was 10 years ago, and we pretty much same size now, aren't we? I think.
I quite literally was half the man out, and now I don't think I could get in the door, let alone lean down to do that anymore.
But enough about the history. Let's talk about this beer. So, excuse me, 4.9%. So one thing we've always done is kept this beer a 4.9% milk stout. So trying to keep that bit of consistency. And then we've gone through lots of different iterations of flavours. Anything we can think of Christmassy, anything apart from chocolate orange, apparently. So what we've done is try to keep it Christmassy, and then the first few years, myself and Lee chose what different flavours we wanted to do, and then we opened it to the wider team and started doing a vote. So each year we come up with good ideas, hopefully good ideas, and someone votes in what their favourite is. So this year, the Walnut Whip won the vote, and it was a bit of a controversial one because walnuts disappeared, didn't they, from the Walnut Whip? So I take it we didn't use real walnut in this.
No. Didn't we discuss that? And what wasn't there a case of you could get either version? There was some with the walnut, some without the walnut. But if you don't have the walnut, how's it a walnut whip?
Yeah, but it's back now. The walnut's back. You can have a walnut whip. But yeah, we chose not to put. We still don't use real nuts in the brewery. Ian's laughing in the background. There's a joke to be had there. Mainly because of allergens. But yeah, so walnut flavouring, and it's usually the aroma, if anything, that makes you actually taste the nut. There's so many jokes. I can't have it.
Carry on.
So yeah, usually with any sort of nut-based beer, most of the flavour comes from smelling the beer first. So you get the flavour from the aroma, and then hopefully you get the walnut taste come through. So with this one, it tastes great, and don't get me wrong, I was disappointed, but only until I tasted the beer, because I love marshmallow beers. Anything we do with marshmallow in, I'm all over. And I was like, I can't wait for the walnut whip beer this year because it's going to be marshmallow. And there's no marshmallow in it. I was like, but walnut whip's marshmallow. It's not. It's whipped cream.
So we've had to try and explain this to Wayne a few times. It's kind of a mallow-like substance that's more creamy, and it doesn't have the flavour of marshmallow.
Yeah, so it's a mouthfeel. So, but anyway, there's a marshmallow flavouring behind here. I'll pour in later on, and then I'll enjoy it that way instead. But no, I think it's worked out really nice. It's a nice, easy drinking beer because it's only 4.9. We've obviously got the cask version, and this beer will massively suit that style. Unless he's listening, then can. Just because the serving temperature is warmer. We always talk about the temperature of dark beers, but also with the sparkler, because we're in the north, be able to pull a bit of air through there, give it a bit more body as well. And I think it tastes nice on cask. I haven't had the keg version yet. I don't know if you guys are to compare and contrast, but if you're drinking at home, you've obviously got the canned version, which will taste a little bit different, but hopefully you did warm it up. So what were the other suggestions this year besides chocolate orange?
Well, there was a shout for the eggnog one to come back again, but I think that white stouts were a little bit too Marmite. Well, there we go. So yeah, I think we'd lose more favour than we would gain doing something like that. We also had shouts for Irish cream, better known as Bailey's, I guess, but quite how we would have got the whiskey flavour in there with the cream, I don't know. One I did like was the Black Forest Gatter suggestion. And last year we did one with cherry in, so maybe one with like that. Is it blackberry or is it black? It's blackberry, isn't it?
Yeah, well, no, it's kirsch. It's cherry.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Yeah.
So cherry, I think, would work very well. So I would like to see that suggestion reappear for next year.
Well, one of the things the team in the tap room have done is they've got some Christmas shots. And after I clocked off, so I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but Joanna's partner Michael and me with amongst the barmen on Saturday, just working the tap room, showing everyone how it's done. In reality, everyone else did the work, and I just wandered up and down. And we did, and then but after I clocked off, I sat the other side of the bar, which is one of the things I love about this bar, which I'll tell you a lot more about later. And somebody mispoured a Christmas cocktail. They did the gingerbread man, which is actually a shot rather than a cocktail, and it was poured with ice. And the guy's like, "Oh, it's supposed to be a cocktail." I was like, "That's a mispour. I'll try that." It was really, really nice. It was just like gingerbread in a glass. It was really, really nice, but it was also half free. And I was like, "I'm not going to have any more like that." But chocolate orange shot, but they also have a black forest shot. The black forest shot is really good. So we have
some
of these shots.
We have said in the year that every year, Joanna, who's off camera, who's sales admin and also supports our bar teams with SOPs, etc., always, every year, without fail, petitions for chocolate orange. And even asked for us to do a chocolate orange sour. She's that desperate for it to happen. And every year we resist. In particular, Tyler, who's our head of sales, who sells into our wholesalers, is very insistent that we don't bow to Joanna's wishes and make that beer because he feels it would not be an easy sell. We've got a question over here. Chocolate mint?
Matchsticks.
So chocolate mint can work. In my time, I would say I've had as many good examples of a chocolate mint beer as I've had bad ones. They're not an easy thing to get right. I'm sure we could do it well. I wouldn't mind having a crack. So you never know.
Another question. Got camera and question.
Green buzzballs.
Green buzzballs. Did you say you've got green buzzballs?
So when we're in the US, well, in fact, this isn't just a US thing. Ian has a fascination with intoxicating people through whatever medium possible. And in the US, it was these things called buzzballs, which since returning to the UK, we now see as becoming a thing over here. So little plastic balls, which...
Not like baubles, aren't they?
I think the nearest I would compare them to here is, if you remember like in apple sours. Yeah, so you can buy tubes of these things. They're little vodka-based shots that are maybe 15% in strength, something like that. But you're down in one. Anyway, he was plying these with people. And why are we talking about this? Oh, a buzzball flavoured stout. My God.
No.
You heathen.
It's not happening.
A dark walnut ware. I don't even know if I've had that pleasure.
Well, as long as it's not the white chocolate ones, I don't really like them.
Not either.
Right. The other thing I didn't mention, so obviously being a stout, a little bit more complex than some of the hoppy beers we make in terms of the malt bill. So loads of different malts used, but mainly chocolate malt, biscuit malt.
There'll be some crystals in there for some caramel. And to give it a roast character, we will have roast barley. And because that can be quite astringent, we then also use something called Carafa 3, which contributes colour without bringing the kind of bitterness that can also be associated with a roasted grain.
And then, instead of, like I mentioned earlier, we don't use nuts in the beer, so we use some natural flavourings to try and get those Christmas flavours into the glass. Does everyone think? Yay or nay?
So how would you say it compares to previous fairy tales, for those of you that remember earlier iterations?
A memory of a year or more.
Okay, good.
I think I do. And one of the things Lee mentioned earlier, nightmare every year is last year's Fairytale brewed stronger. So that might be a real taste a comparison once you get onto the nightmare.
Well, which of course means this time next year you'll get to sample this at 8.5%. So we'll get to see what that does to that.
A special edition with marshmallow.
Just well, I'll buy you some. I'll buy you a mini flavouring so you can dose your own. But more chocolate than walnuts has been observed in the room. Yeah, I'd agree. I think the walnut is there. I think I get it more up front than I get it kind of backed up, which is probably what Wayne's saying about it being aromatic rather than full-on flavour.
Plus, if you eat a walnut with it whipped right, you bite the walnut off at the first, and then the rest of it doesn't taste walnutty anyway.
Oh, good recovery.
That's exactly what we planned. Yes.
Maybe that's the walnut that's doing that.
The walnut might be giving it some dryness, possibly, yeah. Okay, so now we're moving on to our first full topic for this session, and we're going to talk about what's been going on in the brewery in the last 4 months. Despite that considerable demand and challenge we've had with projects and Halloween beers and Christmas beers and all the other things we've been undertaking, we have had a significant overhaul of the staffing in the brewery. Unfortunately, a few people have left. But then we've also taken the opportunity to look at the structure, and we've recognised a few individuals that were making bigger contributions than they were perhaps being acknowledged for. So we restructured, we've elevated a few people. I would love to stand here and name all those people, but if I do that, the risk is I piss off the people that I don't mention. So let's just say that everybody is appreciated for what they have done within our structure, and there is a lot of people who have been worthy of note, but I don't want to piss people off. So that might be me being a bit of a politician, but we have been privileged, I think, to be able to, rather than bring in external people in to fill positions, pretty much every vacancy we've had in the last 4 months, we've elevated somebody in the team into, and then we've looked to bring somebody into the role that they've vacated, which I think as a company is a great position to be in. Okay. We've also had 2 major audits, which some idiot decided to schedule for within 3 days of each other. I thought it would be a good thing to just have them done. Maybe next year I'll think differently. So we have our SALSA audit, which we do every year. SALSA means Safe and Local Supplier Accreditation. If you want to sell into some of the big retailers, your supermarkets, some of your big pub chains, etc., their expectation is that you are accredited to this standard. And we've hit that standard now for 8 years consecutively. And our auditor refers to us as one of the best examples of that he sees, which I think is a nice thing to hear. And then we've also, for the first time, been audited by ASDA, because we are about to become a ASDA own brand manufacturer. We launch a stout in ASDA on the 26th of January.
You have to pat your bum when you say that.
Didn't we decide that was the Tesco advert? I don't think
No. I think Asda's patting your bum and Tesco's every little helps.
I think I'll just steer away in case I get it wrong. But, so there is a salted, salted caramel stout launching in Asda, which is Asda versus Brew York salted caramel stout from the 26th of January next year. And given it's one of their own brand things, it's going to be pretty much every Asda store you can find.
5%?
So 4.5%, that one.
4.5%.
So yeah, I think it's quite an acclaim, quite a recognition from where we are as a brewery to have them come in and assess us and deem us worthy of doing that for them, because it is quite a leap above the audit standards that we've been doing previously. So well done to everybody in my team who has got us to that position.
I always remember when craft beer was really first kicking off, and Brewdog were, well, they are very, very big now, but they were still quite big back then. And one of my favourite beers was a beer they did called Jackhammer, which is a double IPA.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I remember that.
Tesco's own brand double IPA was actually Jackhammer. And I always remember, like, that's quite good, I'll start drinking that. And it's really, really good. And it kind of reminds me of that, is that if you can get to a stage where the supermarket relies on your brand, and, well, not relies on your brand, but relies on your production and all your quality standards, it's pretty nice recognition to have.
Indeed. So we've also been investing heavily in developments of the brewery, specifically about bringing on quality and bringing on our sustainability efforts. So we've invested heavily in various bits of equipment that mean that by the end of this year, which I know is very soon, we will be doing in-house micro assessment. So it means for every beer that we make at various different points in the process, we will be plating that beer to assess it for microbial and fungal contamination. So we can make sure that the beer that is getting into your glass is everything that we hope it is going to be. And then the one that I'm really excited about, which is a little bit geeky, but this is me, we are going to have a nitrogen generator in place by February next year.
So anyone in the audience, you know that really annoying noise in the background? That is our nitrogen generator. So we have one in Warmgate, excuse me, we have for a while because of the volume of gas we go through as a bar. It made sense to have nitrogen generation on site. This is small scale generation. The one up in Oswaldwick is going to be a very big nitrogen generator, and hopefully that one's going to kick off in a minute. Got a question, Pete? Not for you, but
So the reason we go for nitrogen regeneration rather than CO2 recapture?
Right. I've been asked, is there any reason I've gone for nitrogen generation rather than CO2 recapture? Reason being, it's the better bang for buck investment. So we're going to spend best part of, with that, about £90,000 implementing this project. But in doing so, we will eliminate 75% of our CO2 usage. So most of our carbon footprint as a brewery is the CO2 that we vent to air. So if we're moving, say, a beer from one tank to another, we have to flush that tank with CO2, and then we can't capture that, so then we have to vent it. So that's all going into atmosphere. And we spend £50,000 a year just on CO2. So if I can save 75% of that, in year one, spending this £90,000 is going to save us £37,500, as well as having a massive environmental positive impact. And Full Circle, who did this like 18 months, 2 years ago, they've reduced their CO2 usage by 85%. So I think we're quite conservative in saying that's what we're doing. CO2 recapture is more expensive to implement, and it does mean that you then have to have a completely new dedicated set of pipework, because every tank that you have producing CO2 has to have a new form of connection to it to harvest that CO2, to send it to the system that's then going to purify it, so it then can be reused within your processes. So it is on the list, but nitrogen was the one that made the most sense in terms of return on investment. And then further on in the future, we'll come back and we'll look at CO2 recapture.
I was going to say, any non-beer geeks, beer, when it's fermenting, creating alcohol, creates carbon dioxide as a byproduct. But then we let that, usually most breweries let that vent to the atmosphere, and then we buy carbon dioxide and put it back into a beer to get it to the carbonation level you guys taste beer at. So a technology exists to capture the byproduct of the beer, to then put it back into the beer later on to make it really, much more energy efficient and better for the environment. But that's not our biggest waste. So what Lee's saying is that every time we need to move beer between tanks, we need to make sure there's no oxygen in that tank, because oxygen's bad for beer. So we have to purge it with something. Right now it's usually CO2. So again, we're just wasting that carbon dioxide because then it goes to atmosphere. This new solution means we can use nitrogen, which isn't free to create. It uses electricity to generate, but it's much better for the environment, much cheaper, and will save us a lot of money and stop the waste of CO2.
And similarly, we like to be as resourceful as we can. So we don't buy in clean kegs. We are cleaning kegs to use ourselves. So we are flushing them with compressed air. We're then cleaning them, and then we're purging and leaving sat in there an inert gas. Doesn't really matter what that inert gas is, but the minute it's CO2. And then when you fill that keg, you're pushing that CO2 back out and it's going into atmosphere. Well, if I can use nitrogen for that instead, so nitrogen sits in there, and then we push the nitrogen out into the atmosphere. Well, the atmosphere is 80%-ish nitrogen anyway. So we're not really causing any impact by doing that. So I'm bringing my costs down, and I'm also having a positive environmental impact. So if you are in a position to be able to do it, it's a bit of a no-brainer.
So by the way, anyone on camera, I'm not going to a toilet break. I'm going for a beer break. So sorry, I might even still be on camera.
How do they know you're not on camera anymore?
Well, I'm still here talking. You can't hear anything in the urinal, so that noise is
don't be doing a naked gun.
Yeah.
And you could get me one as well while you're there.
With my Hoppergate, obviously.
Whatever.
We've
Right,
got a question on the topic of Nitra. So, It's Good asks, did you hear about recent issues that Cloudwater had with their Nitro Stout? It sounds like it's something that's quite hard to do, right?
Oh, right. So nitrogen is also what you would use to inject into something like a nitro stout. The most famous example, of course, being Guinness. And the reason you do that is nitrogen bubbles are smaller than CO2 bubbles. And that means when they're in your mouth, rolling across your tongue, it feels like cream. So that's what's contributing to it feeling thicker and creamier. So that's why you put nitrogen into these styles of beer. I have to confess, Pete, I am not familiar with whatever issues Cloudwater have. This is the first I'm hearing of it. I do know it is a hard thing to prepare a nitrogen beer. You have to absolutely get that level of nitrogen in the sweet spot. If you don't hit it there, you've probably seen people trying to pour these things over the bar, and they'll be pouring like that, and they're just pouring beer, and it's going, it's going, it's going. Some of the time, that is unfortunately down to the way in which the brewery has prepared the beer. Some of the times, that's down to the staff training. There is a reason, for example, when they're doing a Guinness, that they stop 2/3 of the way through, they let it settle, and then they go back and fill it. That's because they don't waste beer doing that way. But they've marketed it to you as a 2-stage process that makes the beer taste better. It's so they don't waste it. That's why you do it like that. So if everybody poured their nitro beers that way, perhaps we wouldn't have an issue. But I have no idea what Cloudwater's concerns would be. Black Bess is a nitro stout that we do, which is one of my old homebrew recipes that we've converted into a nitrogenated beer.
So yeah, speaking of patience, obviously because I wanted to jump back on stream, I just very rush poured myself a beer, which is taking a while to settle. Whereas Lee's are going to pour perfectly and settle now.
I don't know about that, but anyway, thank you.
It's his first shift.
We have a few other things to acknowledge. So we've also picked up a few awards in the last few weeks or so. So it was the SEBA Northeast Regional Awards a couple of weeks back, and you're only allowed to enter 3 beers. So how many medals do you think we got? 3. Hey. So we got a silver for Coney, and then we got a gold for Big Eagle and Juice Forsyth, which also made it the category winner. And there is a distinction between gold and category winner. Gold is got enough points to have qualified to get gold. Category winner is you've got the most points over all the beers in that category. And only if you're the category winner do you progress to the national awards. So we now go forward to March with which is the SEBA National Festival Beer X in Liverpool with Big Eagle and Juice Forsyth.
Speaking of SEBA awards, should we pick that up now?
We're going to mention it later, but give it a double plug. Why not?
So timely one with the camera audience. But SEBA do a can award, which is one we've been talking about. We also do a keg awards. So each year, independent breweries can submit their beer forward to be judged and put into the awards like the cans. Quite a few years back now, the beers used to go to the York Camera Beer Festival and be judged before the festival started, alongside. Used to be judged as part of the competition there. And then
I think they did all format. I think that was cask, keg, and small packet. Cask and small pack. So keg was never part of that.
Keg's never been part of this. Right. So for quite a few years, the SEBA Northeast have been trying to find a competition or a beer festival they could put the beers into so that it doesn't go to waste. And last year it was in
Triple Point in Sheffield.
And we've said, well, we'll host it if you want, because all it is, it's quite a big thing, but every brewery in the Northeast submits loads of beers to be sampled and tasted as part of this competition, and then the beers afterwards are either wasted or returned to the brewery. So we said if we host it here, we could put on a beer festival with those beers, and we'll raise a lot of money for charity, and we'll give you guys, the public, a reasonably priced beer festival. And I don't know what that reasonably priced is, we're trying to work it out, but we're trying to make sure that all the beers that we get submitted for the beer festival, we can sell on to the public for hopefully a very, very good price per pint, and we can get through the volume of beer that's submitted in a relatively short period of time. So I haven't really sold that very well. I haven't promoted it very well.
So we have 90 different beers coming in for a huge array of Northeast-based breweries. It's going to be I think from Wednesday the 28th of January is when the judging would take place. And then for the days afterwards, we're going to have the beers from those breweries across a number of our bars. And I think we're bringing in extra dispense equipment, probably our event vehicle as well, to assist with the
Not sure
serving.
about that bit, but we've got, now that one of the things we're going to talk about later is the enhancements to the tap room. And one of the things that's done is made that the upstairs beer hall bar has 40 guest lines, and those guests might be Brew York beers, but I just mean non-regular pouring. So for this festival, Brew York beers will be pouring anyway. So the guest beers that have been submitted, there'll be about 80 of them. We have 40 lines upstairs. So over the space of 4 days, those 80 beers will be rotated. You get a chance to try 80 different beers from the Northeast, the best beers in the Northeast, because these are what people are submitting for the competition. And hopefully they'll be very reasonably priced. I keep saying hopefully because we haven't agreed the final price of what we're paying.
They will be very reasonably priced.
Yeah.
Now, the intention is that we want this beer to be moved. We don't want to be pillaging this beer. So we're going to sell it to you below market rate. Wayne's right. Until we see the price of the beers, we can't say what that is. But it is going to be less than you're used to paying for a cask pint, keg pint.
And we've seen the list of beers, which is pretty awesome. So really exciting because these are every brewery in the Northeast who wants to enter the competition are going to submit their best beers, and there's a lot of very good breweries in the Northeast. So really exciting. We'll share as many details as we can as soon as we've got the details to share, and we'll start promoting it properly. But
so that is very hot off the press. We have been talking about it for a little while behind the scenes, but as you can tell, we still have a bit of detail to finesse.
Yeah.
So as soon as we've got that locked down, we'll get that out to you.
Including our team upstairs who run this venue don't know the details yet because we really don't. So part of the process is sharing that information with them. So
yeah, Liam's probably over there sweating
knows,
bullets right now.
Liam knows a bit, but he doesn't know that much yet. So he'll be working with us to finesse that. The good news is for our own team, the Wednesday when the tasting happens, they don't need to. That takes care of itself. They can just work this bar, tick away as normal, and then the mayhem starts when you guys all come down Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday and drink all that beer. So it'll be good. Right. And it's a good way to end a dry January drought if you're doing that.
Yeah.
Again, we're working with SEBA we want to be able to input into which charities the money's raised for.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't know. So they've said a proportion to charity, and we've asked if we could have some say in who that's going to be. So we don't know yet. So final bit I wanted to draw some attention to, because it's a bit of a pinch yourself moment for myself and Wayne, is over the last 10 years, we've been really fortunate to catch the eye of the major retailers, and we've had our beer in at one point, all of the major retailers. Not currently, but we are in still many of them, and we have many SKUs, different types of beer out there. But for the first time ever, we've got a listing in a supermarket in a non-UK country. You can now get 3 different types of Brew York beer in a supermarket in Denmark, which I think is quite something. It's shipped this week, which presumably means within 2-3 weeks, it'll be launching in, and if I'd done my homework better, I could tell you exactly where.
I thought you were going to pronounce it then.
That was my attempt.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
The other cool one that he's got his prompts is one of our, well, if not our favourite beer that we brew, Big Eagle, is in Sweden, and they loved it, didn't they?
So we sent them 30,000 cans, and they sold the first 27,000 in 4 weeks. So
now
I think they're kind of happy with that.
Get on board with West Coast IPAs. It needs to be rated back how things were 15 years ago. It's all about the West Coast, and we need everyone to love them as much as the breweries in Scandinavia do.
The thing I, and presumably you, love about getting a beer listed in Sweden, Norway, Finland, where they have nationalised alcohol sales, they have monopolies, is they say we want a beer in this range, in this volume, to sell into our nationalised stores at this point in time. Send us your samples. And you have to send them anonymised. So they then have a tasting panel that consume these things, and they've no idea whose beer they're drinking. They don't buy into the hype. There is no hype. They have absolutely no idea. They are purely selecting based on quality of liquid. And we've got into quite a few of these things, which I think is a huge esteem for myself, Wayne, and the people who are making these beers. So yeah, Big Eagle got selected because they like the liquid. It's now out there, and to see something that is a West Coast, which is true to our hearts, sell out that quickly, yeah, I think Wayne's right. Please, can we do this in the UK?
And a quick thank you there to Sam, our export manager, who's managed to find these opportunities and get our beer in front of the people. So well done. And that was the other bit I didn't mention about our trip to America. It's pretty amazing to go to the West Coast of America, because guess what? Every bar we went into, there was an abundance of West Coast IPAs.
Oh, and there was something else out there actually, which
West Coast Pils.
West Coast Pilsner. So we are going to be talking about some of the beers we have coming up next year, and that isn't on the list, but it's something that Wayne asked to be on the list, having experienced that in Portland and Washington in the recent past. So just think a really clean, crisp Pilsner, but with the hop and bitterness character of West Coast. It's a beautiful style. I think it's probably not going to sell that well here, but we'll do our best to contribute to the drinking.
Speaking of not selling very well here, we've got a collab with an amazing brewery. We absolutely love them, doing a style we absolutely love, but the public don't seem to consume. So we've got our red IPA coming out very, very shortly, which is our Siren collab. So anyone in the live audience, I've put it on the line that HYG was on, so we'll be able to taste it. But yeah, you guys at home will be able to taste it in your box soon, and you'll be able to taste it in bars near you soon. But red IPAs, we love them. And hopefully people will pick up on that.
And we have a question from Barthos here.
Just while you're on styles that don't sell very well, two-part question, I guess, to both of you. So
lactose lager?
I guess it'd be quite different. So is there one beer that you'd like to bring back that you don't think would sell very well, so you can't? And also, as a side part, is there one beer that you currently do that you'd like to get rid of, but you also can't because it sells too well?
So is this a loaded question on the sour black IPA?
No.
Take the sour black. Was that what we called it?
No, I think if there was one thing I would want to bring back, so we had in our original core range something called Kiwi, which was a brown ale that was hopped with New Zealand hops. And I just love those styles of beer, much like the red IPA that we're talking about here, where it's not malt dominating over hops or hop dominating over malt. It's trying to bring balance between the two. And I really love those things where you've got a real decent potency of malt alongside that kind of aromatic character of hops. But for whatever reason, anything that is red and brown these days is a big turn off to the general public. They just want this hazy pea super stuff, it would seem these days.
Which beer would you get rid of, then?
And which would I get rid of? Well, years ago I would have said Little Eagle if it was still in our range because of that thing called Sriracha, as you know. But which one would I get rid of out of our current range? Come back to me. Do Wayne's answer.
Yeah, it's difficult. Well, what I'll get rid of is Keris, obviously. Because, I say obviously, if you weren't paying attention earlier, it's the one beer in the signature cask range we are getting rid of. I like the beer, but in general, the low ABV cask hasn't really worked for us. So we brought it out because it is much cheaper in tax that we pay to the government, which means it's cheaper for the landlord, which means they can sell it on cheaper to you guys. But the style just really hasn't picked up. We don't sell much of that beer. So because we don't sell much of it, why focus on a style that's not, in my opinion, as nice as some of the other beers we brew? So if we can't sell that much of that beer, then let's put something in, like maybe the Rudolf Reigns or the Whitmer Hoppergate, that those beers we feel will sell much, much bigger volume. So you guys will hopefully enjoy them more.
And I would have gone Keris, I think, as well. So because I'm doubling up with him, I'm going to give you another one that I would like to bring back. Goose Willis.
Oh, yeah.
So another thing that we had in our range very early on was a gooseberry flavoured sour, which, pretty much every drinking session I would have had in this bar would have started out pale, and then I'd have some darks, then I'd have a Goose Willis, and I'd kind of alternate between darks and Goose Willis as a bit of a palate cleanser, and I really miss the kind of... It was very much like if you had like a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, which I know sounds very middle class of me, but that real kind of gooseberry, crisp, clean sharpness to it, I really liked what that beer had.
And I think...
It used to be the first beer that disappeared from every beer festival.
So Ian just asked, why did we get rid of Goose Willis? The main reason is that sour beers, unfortunately, don't sell very well anymore in bars. So if you go into a craft beer bar, they'll maybe have one line that rotates their sour. And because of that, you're all competing for that one line. And every brewery had a sour, Not they don't so much anymore, but everyone and Vault City then dominated the market. Vault City are very, very good at sours. Not many of them are sour anymore. They're more flavourful than sour, but because they're so well known in that category, the bars tend to buy their beer, which is great for them. But it means that we're all now trying to compete for another sour line, which not many brewery bars have. So we'll come on to it later in terms of reducing that.
And that's certainly the case now. But when we first dropped Goose Release, it was after a conversation we had about
we were putting our specials.
If we did new sours all the time, do we think we could sell more than having that one thing available all the time? And for a while, that did prove to be the case. But then what Wayne's just described happened, where you've got a very dominant player in the market who does incredible sours at really accessible pricing. So I guess
accessible, it means expensive.
I think some of it
is very accessible.
the like strawberry one and the lemon one that they have in the supermarkets that you occasionally get across the bars. I think for sours that they are quite. I don't want to use the word cheap. They're less than you would expect to be paying. Let's say that.
But yeah, and it's that challenge. If we put we have had we do have them on quite a lot upstairs. They're more accessible range, their supermarket range doesn't sell very well. We put their weird and wackier stuff on, it sells well. So yeah, it was just a change in market demand, reacting to consumer behaviour. There's no point, even if we've got 40 lines upstairs, there's no point putting 5 sours on, because those 5 sours would just sit around for months, and it doesn't look good look to consumer if you come in. Like, I'm sure that beer was on last week, and last week, and last week, so I know it's not selling, so I'll just get something else. Yeah. So we want beers that are going to move quickly, and if you put too many of one style on, it doesn't move.
And I would say, I keep saying this, in the 10 years, in the duration that we've been doing this, it's really surprised me the pace at which consumer trends move, the way in which people's tastes have changed. And I think that in particular got accelerated by the pandemic. So during the pandemic, everybody went a little bit crazy for, well, I don't have to face the boss. I don't have to do the commute. I'm going to drink dippers every day. So everybody got a bit stupid with what they're consuming at that point in time. And then I think we've seen this massive surge towards sessionable. And then you had the government do the change in the taxation, which pushed people even further towards the sessionable, certainly in terms of what we thought we could make at a reasonable price point. So that's been going on. And then alongside you got people who are, I think, now quite mature in their craft journey. So they were maybe doing all the daft stuff they could possibly get their hands on. And now they've settled on a few things that they like. And I probably would class myself in that journey where I went from Pilsners and bitters and things like that a while ago. I did all this journey through crazy sour, daft fruity beer, 15% Imperial stouts. And now when I go in a bar, I order a pint of bitter. And it's not that I don't do that crazy. I might just be getting old, but and it's not that I don't do that crazy stuff anymore. It's just less of a need. I do it less. And I think I'm not alone in that. So we have seen a big decline in appeal for those kind of things, and definitely a big return to more of the classic styles, like your bitters, your miles, etc. So there's been a big uptick in doing what like Kirk still does, or what like 5 Points do, where you're doing a classic style, reinterpreted in a modern way, but just done really, really well. So I think that's been a big focus of what we've done, in particular with our cask core range, or certainly what we're trying to do anyway.
So yeah, it's been good, and there's more we can talk about this in a bit, but we are 10 minutes late now for drinking the sour of tonight's journey. So Lee's going to talk to you a bit more about it, but make sure you get your Dreams of Brew York, crack it open and start drinking it. It's nice.
That's actually the first time I've drunk this year.
Is it?
Unbelievably. Yeah. Well, that is really nice.
Just as well, eh?
So once again, we gathered internal suggestions, I think driven by Pete behind the camera over there. We did this in May. I don't know if we referenced earlier when we did it. I can't remember why we did it as early as May. I presume there was a need to get some branding landed or something like that. And we had suggestions such as, and these were some good ones, Bucks Fizz, lemon posset, a raspberry and lemon trifle, a limoncello sour. But the one that ultimately won out was our export manager Sam's suggestion of a mixed berry Pavlova sour. So into here we put 3 different types of berry. We have blackberry, blueberry and raspberry puree, a combined 800 kilos of those purees. And then to bring the marshmallow, we have marshmallow flavouring. And to give it that creaminess, we have vanilla, we have lactose, and we also have maltodextrin. So lactose we've referenced a few times. That's the dairy-derived sugar that is not fermentable, so it leaves creaminess in the beer, it leaves sweetness in the beer, and it leaves body. And then the maltodextrin we have in there is long-chain sugars, dextrose sugars. It's what you make candy floss out of. And that, again, contributes to body, contributes to sweetness. So that marshmallow flavouring you get in there, I would say the two biggest contributors to that are the maltodextrin and the marshmallow flavouring we have in there. And we've done a few of these combinations of marshmallow and berry over the year. I think the first one that we launched with was one of my favourite names for a beer ever, Mallowed Be Thy Name, which I tried to get on the schedule again for next year, and I believe it's currently sat on the reserve list. I don't think it made it onto the actual full list for this coming year.
This is a nod back to what Lee was saying earlier. Unfortunately, when we bring sours out now, and even fruit sours and stuff like that, they're just not selling anywhere near as well. The cans sell really, really well, sell really quickly, but we just can't seem to sell kegs of it into venues anymore because I don't think they have enough sour lines or fruited lines anymore. So volume of beer we produce, when we were at a twin 50 hectolitre brew house, we need to sell a reasonable volume to justify brewing something. And if you put 50 hectolitres into cans, that's how many pallets of cans? Too many.
One brew would be about 750 cases, so about 4 and a bit pallets of cans.
Yeah, it's just too many of one specific special to brew. So we're always super cautious. And then this year in particular, unfortunately, our sours just haven't moved as quickly as they used to. Perhaps, I don't know. One of the things I was thinking recently was some of our sours aren't sour enough for me. So fruited sour is really nice and it makes it accessible to a lot more people. But sometimes I want a sour to be really puckering. And when we first brought out Goose Willis, you did pull that face when you tried it. And then your second mouthful was really good. And then your third was really good. Like, it got better and better. So I think some of the sours maybe have gone a little bit too mainstream to make them more appealing. So maybe a rewind back to that. But this is beautiful, by the way. So an accessible fruity sour is a good thing, but you have to be careful about how many of them we do.
I think I'd have to agree with Wayne that I think we've gone a little bit safe with the sours in the last year. Certainly they haven't been sour enough. And it has made us reflect on our plans for next year, and we're definitely going to do less sours, but hopefully that means that we can put a bit more care and attention into the ones that we do, and we make sure that they are what we want them to be. But this one definitely is the brief.
That's really, really nice. It's tart. It's not sour, is it? It's a nice fruited beer with a bit of tartness, and that's where.
Well, these ones where you bring in the vanilla and the lactose, it starts out sharp, and then where you would usually get that finish of kind of tart, that's when the vanilla creaminess comes in and it takes it away. And that's what makes these things like gateway ones and makes them so accessible.
What country was it when we brought out Mallowed Be Thy Name? I can't remember where we were. We were drinking traffic lights. Someone brought out a traffic light series, and it was really red, amber, and green.
Finland?
It was probably someone like Finland. Do you know whose beers they were? It was. We went to their festival in Sweden.
Brew. Yeah.
We poured at their festival.
Yeah.
Brewskival.
Brewskival. Yeah. That was close.
Brewski. So they brought out these. I hadn't really tried many of their beers, and we weren't in Sweden. We were in. I think it was maybe Norway, and their beers were really, really nice. Never had them before, but people were buying their sours over Omnipolos, and I was like, let's try them. Very, very expensive because beer is very expensive in Scandinavia. But they were doing really, really good stuff, and it was all this style, so really easy drinking, but flavourful. We're like, well, when we go back to the UK, we need to brew something that's on a par with this, and that's when Mallowed Be Thy Name came out. And it was a cracking beer. And we'd love to keep repeating beers like that, bring them back, but unfortunately, most of the consumers want new beers. Just bring the same beer back, we'll just call it something different.
Well,
Mallowed Be.
I will keep petitioning for that one to come back.
Yeah, you just need to wait a few. It's like fashion, isn't it? You just need to not wait 10 years. Yeah, vintage beers.
Well, actually, one thing we haven't mentioned about these Christmas beers is something that's been raised by Tyler, who got an earlier mention, who is our head of sales. He feels that the series as a whole is perhaps getting a little bit jaded. And he likes the names, but he thinks that we maybe need at least a reinvigoration of the artwork. What would we think?
I think on Fairytale we need.
Would you go further? Would you completely do new Christmas beers? Or do you think we're safe to stick with what we've got and just change the artwork, keep on changing the flavours up?
Difficult because what we've got is enough. So we've not used it for long enough, like what it is.
Fairytale's back. I'm going to have it.
To it. We see that when the manual's something different. I think that it's outdated. It's a difficult one.
It is a difficult one.
At the same time, though, doing different flavours.
We do different flavours, but for some people, they're just seeing the same name across the bar and then they're thinking, well, I've had that one before. They're perhaps not reading the flavour descriptor that makes. Yeah.
I'll keep the same name, a different image.
So you're doing the right stuff.
Yeah.
All the things you've talked about tonight, I haven't heard anything negative at all. So
Oh, that's good.
why change the winning formula?
Yeah.
No, and I would probably agree with you, Carl, but sometimes it's good to affirm these things and make sure you are on the right track.
How much yearly hatred do you get on Untapped?
How much yearly hatred do we get on Untapped? I've not looked at Untapped in years.
Well, this is the thing. So on Untapped, we actually have it. Fairytale 25, Fairytale 26. It's dated so people can log it individually. It's just I don't see it. I think the name's great, but I would think that. I think what we're doing is good because by changing the recipe every year, you still got something new and interesting. But it is probably time for the artwork to refresh a little bit. So we definitely need the Pogues and Kirsty McCall on it, and if we're gonna on the Fairytale at least, anyway.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. I don't know.
So,
We'll see.
yeah, evolution, not revolution, then. To be a little bit cliche about that.
So
Okay, so now we move on to I've done my bit on what's gone on in the brewery. For the last 4 months, what's gone on in the bars?
just a little bit. So this is where I kind of lose track a little bit because when we caught up last time, we were in the beer cave at the Old Grey Mare. So that was in August. And I can't remember whether we just opened Carlton. I think we had. I think we probably just reopened Carlton because that opened Yorkshire Day, which is the start of August. And we were about to launch Brew and Bow Scarborough. So that launched successfully middle of August, and we've now been running that place since then. It's been very interesting. It's been very good. We had an amazing summer, and it's kind of proved what we knew in Scarborough. And winter in Scarborough is very quiet, but the guys do a great job there. The Monday is one of our busiest days because we do a quiz on a Monday. So it's amazing to see people coming out on a Monday. But yeah, it is a little bit quiet some days, and we can't wait for the weather to pick up again and people to go back there. It's a very tourist central town, but it's a great space, and we're looking forward to seeing what potential that's got next year. Old Grey Mare.
So I'm laughing at Ian crawling past the camera that he's actually tall enough to just walk under.
Yeah.
And then in attempting to not attract the attention of the camera,
He keeps hitting the camera.
kicking the
It was
camera.
fun to watch.
But Old Grey Mare. So when we took it on, there was so much potential there. We were hoping the bar would be popular. It proved more than popular, which meant we got a little bit complacent and we didn't switch our attention to the rooms. So there's 10 guest rooms upstairs, which we finally launched about 2 months ago now, a month and a half ago. I can't remember. That was a long project, and it took up a lot of time, but they're amazing. Love the place, love the rooms. It's doing exactly what we hoped it would, and the rooms just bring different people to come and stay. Gets a new audience down into the pub, which is amazing. I just sometimes I'm baffled at how it wasn't successful before, because it's such an amazing community vibe there that it's crazy that the place didn't succeed. So we're hoping that our team will keep pushing it from strength to strength, and those rooms will help them do that. My favourite project, although it's been quite intense, is where we are now, the tap room. Said earlier that I'm quite excited to get people back into here again. This is the home of Brew York. This is where we started it all. This is where we come and drink when we get a chance. And it was becoming a little bit unloved. Everyone was going upstairs, fewer people were coming downstairs, and yes, on a weekend it was busy, but we wanted it, and we still want it to be busy again. And one of the things we loved when we first launched the Brew York and launched the tap room, no matter how tired we were, we'd do a shift all week in the brewery, brewing beer, delivering beer, and then one of us would take it in turns on the weekend to run the tap room, and then we'd obviously get our partners in to help us, and any friends and family we could get to volunteer. But it soon became obvious that it needed more than that, and that's when we brought Waters in for our
employee number one.
Employee number one. He still works for us now, so if you see him, punch him for me.
In fact, punch him for me for Sunderland beating Newcastle the other day.
Yeah. But one of the things we loved about the tap room then was interacting with the customers. So standing behind the bar, talking to you guys, finding out what drinks you liked, what you didn't like, how things worked, but also just that pub-style atmosphere in a busy tap room. And when we went to America, we loved the dive bar atmosphere. So you go sit at a bar, like you guys are doing tonight. You sit at the bar, and people leaning around. You order their drinks, but you've got the best seat in the house. You're getting your drinks quicker because especially if you not saying that we want to tip tonight, but if you tip or you treat the bar team well, they'll come back to you really quickly. They'll keep an eye on what you're drinking. They'll look after you, and they'll engage with you, and it just makes for a really, really good atmosphere and environment in the pub. What we then wanted to do was obviously make sure that you guys could see what we do here. We brew beer, and we paid for the screens over a year ago, and unfortunately that company went out of business and it delayed everything we were doing. But as soon as we got the screens up, we wanted to then bring the bar back down and have it in the thick of things.
In fact, we had some seriously bad luck with that. So we paid for the screens. That company went bust, so we lost over £2,000 on screens.
Hell of a lot more than that.
A
hell of a lot more, unfortunately, yeah.
And then we ordered some more, and then one of them just magically smashed itself over there. At least that's what we're told happened. Yeah. And then those ones that we had replaced, they forgot to send the fittings. So they sat over there for about a month just looking nice and us not being able to do anything with them. And then eventually we've been able to get them up, and I think they look pretty spectacular.
And it's kind of something that we had in mind when we first opened the brewery. We wanted really cool being able to sit at a bar and see where the beer was brewed without boxing it off. So Magic Rock Brewery, big inspiration for what we do or did. Unfortunately, they're not with us anymore. But one of the things I didn't like about their tap room was it was completely sealed. The tap room was sealed off to the brewery. There was a couple of windows to look through.
There was a few windows, but it was like looking through a little portal. That you could barely see anything through those windows there.
So we've always wanted
and some of them just then looked onto a vessel.
Yeah,
so you could see a pane of steel. That was it.
So we wanted to do something like this, but we just didn't know how and why or what. So it was only as we continued as a business and we were like, oh, well, why don't we try that? And thankfully, we've given it a try. We think it looks really cool. It does make it a little bit interesting to clean the windows, but you can. But you guys get to sit amongst in the thick of it and get all the advantages of being in the dive bar that we talked about and in the customer engagement. And hopefully, your drinks won't go too low before someone comes up and says, "Do you want another drink?" Instead of you having to get up and go to the bar. And we really, really like that. And it's kind of what we wanted to do and what we wanted to bring back to make this place really cool again. I think it's not that it wasn't cool, we just wanted to make it a little bit better.
Everything deserves to have a refresh every once in a while. And there's a good friend of ours called Jamie that operates the Pavlova bar chain. And he said to me, 8 years. That's their cycle of refresh. Every 8 years, no matter if anybody's clamouring for it or not, they do a big refresh. It's just a sensible thing to do as a bar operator. And given I built the original bar, I built the frame, I cast the concrete in place, I built a big. I almost did myself some serious long-term damage to create and polish that service. So I was probably more resistant than anyone about that change. Therefore, when it came to knocking that bar down, I insisted on at least having a leading role with the sledgehammer. So I then was in here drinking about a week after this had come in, and I sat down there, and nobody knows who I am for the most part, and I'm just observing people, and I'm seeing the atmosphere in here, and I messaged Wayne and said, well done to you for having the vision to do this. because I've never felt it like it is in here now in years. It's completely transformed the atmosphere in here. So yeah, well done, dude.
Cheers. Well, it's one of the things that. Well, yeah. I mean, Jack, our
And live brewing, yeah.
Our warm gate brewer, Jack. He probably won't appreciate it as much as you guys will, because he will probably sometimes feel like a performing monkey. But I think people will love it and they'll engage with him a lot more. When he comes back around, they'll want to talk to him and find out what's going on. But really, really pleased. And one of the things I didn't even mention is the fact that we've put 4 beer tanks in,
yes.
which is quite a big feature.
I don't know if that'll come up on camera,
yeah.
especially as they're black against the black background up there.
So we're going to get them branded up so you know which beers are pouring in there. But basically, Golden Eagle, Time Travelling Taxi, Juice Forsyth and Coney are going to be pouring fresh from tank, not just down here at the taproom bar, but the same tanks then serve the beer hall bar. And the reason we've done that is well, multiple, but one of them, obviously you guys are getting the freshest beer possible, but probably the biggest reason is to make our team's life a lot easier. Because right now, those beers make up 50% of all beer we sell. And at the moment, they lug all of those kegs upstairs. Every week, they're taking 30 to 60 barrels of kegs
and because
upstairs.
they're our better selling beers, we move them in 50 litres. So that's 61 kilos every time you need to move one of those things.
And one of them kicks, it causes problems. so it's just trying to make life a lot easier. And you guys are then getting fresher beer because of that. So it's prelude to what we're going to do more of wherever we can. If we can we're not unfortunately going to be able to get a tank in Pocklington. I don't think you drink enough of one specific beer. But in venues, if we can put tanks in, we will, because we'll have the infrastructure to fill those tanks and make the beer fresher where we can.
And while you were talking now, I saw Pete do a bit of a walkabout with the camera. So I think the guys at home probably did get a good view of the tanks.
So the plan is, like I say, to brand them up so you know which beer is pouring from the tank. The pipes where the pythons run, where it comes to the taps, we're going to do a little bit more to tell the general public about, which beers are pouring when they're filled up, let you know how fresh the beers are. But we just needed to get it. We had a very, very small. We were only closed from a Sunday through till Friday afternoon. So less than a week, we knocked the whole bar out, moved the bar down, did the tank install. It was such a quick turnaround. Hence why there's a lot of work still to do. We aren't thinking this is a finished taproom refurbish, but it's stage 1 done because we needed it open again for Christmas trade. And then in January, we'll start doing some more enhancements. And then hopefully by the time that you guys are ready to enjoy the non-fire damaged beer garden at the back, it's going to be all fully refurbished and the flagship of our portfolio. If you want to go to drink at Brew York, you go to the tap room. The beer hall's amazing. You'll still go upstairs, but the tap room is where you talk about. And that's the plan, and massively inspired by our trip with the Barfast guys to America and seeing how much pride those guys in America have in their tap room and how much it's such a big thing for them.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting now to see how the traffic changes, because this was the original, this is the spiritual home, everybody came here originally, and then we did the glossy thing up there with 40 lines. And then unsurprisingly, everybody migrates up there. But now I think we have something that's at least on a par with that down here, where the focus is very much more on cask, but still has all of our usual offerings there. So.
And this means we can open it 7 days a week. So before we couldn't open it when we were brewing, now we can. So don't get me wrong, in January we're not going to be opening the tap room and the beer hall 7 days a week, but we are in December. So anyone watching at home who hasn't been down yet, we're open. We're mirroring the hours throughout December. Unfortunately, we're taking up tonight, so the public can't come in tonight. But from tomorrow onwards, you can all come in here, and then we'll see. Hopefully, February we'll start opening both venues the same hours, and it's going to be interesting to see how it works.
This is a nicer atmosphere, and it seems more friendly.
That's why I think so. I feel it's busy, isn't it? So this is exactly why I like to drink down here. I feel the atmosphere is more personal. I think it's you get to, and hopefully with the bar as well and your engagement, you'll feel it's more personal. Upstairs is a great space, especially if there's big groups of you. There's big tables, you can go sit down, but you're not going to the bar to have a chat. You go to the bar to bring drinks back to the table, and it's kind of that difference between the two. I think that here's going to be more personable service. Hopefully the bar team will impress you enough that you want to tip them. this is what we loved about America is like, well, as soon as you've given someone a tip, your service is impeccable, isn't it? And that's what we don't fully get in the UK, which is why we don't tip in the UK. But you never know what will happen. And upstairs it's still going to be amazing. And if it's a big group of you, you'll go to the beer hall. There's 40 keg lines up there plus our tanks. So there's loads and loads of choice. And I'm not saying don't go to the beer hall. It's brilliant.
Anyway, we have another beer to get onto, and you haven't even told people about where you're at with Ghoul yet.
No, exactly.
So,
Ghoul.
I think maybe you move on to that.
Ghoul, the never-ending story. Good time. So still stupidly excited about Ghoul. It just seems to be that project that keeps moving on. So unsurprisingly, the contractors haven't handed us the keys at the start of December like they promised. It's not even going to be the end of December as the backup was. It's now looking like start of February, middle of February. Just keeps getting pushed back. So we're hopeful that we'll open in March. I'm pretty sure that by the end of March we'll definitely be open, but I keep saying these things. I keep repeating what I'm told, and unfortunately, it just keeps getting pushed back. So loads and loads of stuff progressing there, and it's looking amazing, which is great. But it just keeps trickling backwards. So yeah, by the time we get to Easter, which is early in April this year, we should definitely be open. But I'll give you guys dates as soon as we know them. It's just one of those projects that just keeps on slipping. And there's nothing we can do about it, unfortunately. It's just down to issues with the contractors and also electricity, apparently. So very much coming soon. And as soon as we know more, we'll tell you guys more.
Okay. And the last thing we had on the list there is we have other irons in the fire. There is a particular localish prospect we were hoping to be further advanced with right now, but yeah, something's scuppered those plans temporarily, but we hope to pick that up as soon as we can.
The designs look amazing, by the way. That was like a big project. Went through all the designs, how it's going to look, really excited about it, and then it's now kind of paused for a few weeks, straight months.
And when Wayne said earlier that when we get enough drink in us, at least off camera, we might spill the beans on something. That's the kind of thing we probably will spill the beans on later. Anyway, we'll get to that in a bit.
So hopefully everyone, but oh no, we do it. We do it fast.
There's no rush.
Sorry, we have a question over here.
Oh, you got your hand up.
I didn't know if you were
was
just
leaning.
rested on there. Or...
It just took a while, so it was fine. Well, you spoke a lot about the tap room and about how you took inspiration from the US. So, two-part question again. What was your favourite tap room in the US when you went over there? And is there a tap room in the UK that you'd recommend the most that really inspired you in the UK?
I thought you were going to ask about barbecue food. What was our favourite barbecue food we had?
My favourite tap room in the US.
Probably
It would be one of two. It would be Varietal, or it would be what was the lager producing brewery? Wayfinder.
Wayfinder was my favourite.
Definitely Wayfinder. Yeah.
Wayfinder is in Portland. Their production volume is about 5,000 hectolitres a year, which is what we were at pre-COVID in this site. And their beers are amazing. It's all really, really, really good lagers, but they also have amazing West Coast beers, obviously, because they're in Portland. And their tap room's just so polished. It's just so slick. A really nice outside area. You go inside and you think you're at the bar. Well, you are at the bar. Nice tap room. Looks really, really good. And then you go around the corner and then they've got a little restaurant, and you go around even more. You can see into the brewery. Really, really nice. The head brewer, I can't remember what her name is. Really knowledgeable.
Natalie, I think.
Really nice, really helpful, and it was just really impressive. And that was probably the first tap room we went to, I think. And it just set the standard. Everyone we went to after that was really, really good, but that one just stands out.
And at the other end of the scale, in terms of like big budget, clearly done very, very well, Freem. Freem, that was one hell of a place, where they'd repurposed various different wood staves to like present bottles on the wall, and then there was a tasting room with a beautiful, almost steampunk like metal and wood sliding door that separated the tasting room. And we were getting shown around Freem, and we saw this brew kit, we saw these vessels, and we're like, okay, that's bigger than we normally see today. And like, oh yeah, that's the pilot kit. Do you now want to come and see the real brewing? And then they took us through, and we saw this thing on this whole other scale. And they had a 5-vessel, was it Crohn's, or it was one of the expensive Crohn's brew system, which I'm stood there thinking, I think I'm stood in front of about £2 million worth of brew kit. It was serious money they'd put into that place.
It's one of those things going to America. It's amazing for inspiration, but it's really bad for jealousy. So their taxation system is very, very different to ours. So they don't pay tax based on ABV like we do. So you can brew anything you want, it's the same tax, and it's also a hell of a lot lower than we pay. So a lot more money, and so most breweries, craft breweries, sell direct to consumer, either through their own tap room or through cans or whatever, through a small market. So they're getting so much more money back into their pockets from what they do, and they're not paying as much tax on it. So like a 5,000 hectolitre brewery in America is big, not big, but it's big, and they get a lot of money. So they can actually invest in what's really important to them. And we pay so much money in duty and tax. It's crazy. It's like if after 10 years of doing this, if you look at our the profit we've made over 10 years, it's so small, but we're profitable and we're still here, which is what's really important. But if we didn't love beer, we wouldn't necessarily do that.
There was a rather major caveat to that, and that's because what we have made has predominantly been reinvested, and we've gone from this little old place here to 2 breweries and 9, soon to be 10 bars.
And
so we have shown a lot for that.
Yeah, but like I say, jealousy is like off the scale when you go up there. Oh,
Then your favourite UK?
Tap room in the UK?
If you have to be, of this exclusive.
Hadley Tap in Oswaldwick.
No, I mean, for completely different reasons, and not because it's showy or ostentatious, it would be Thornbridge.
Yeah.
I just love the simplicity of, and Handley Tap actually mentioning it,
Inspiration
that is our reinterpretation of what they've done in Bakewell, where it's just a bit of this, a bit of that thrown together, and it's not about the showy scenario, it's about, this is just an environment we bring you all together in to drink really fucking good beer.
My favourite tap room I've had an amazing time in is Elusive. So it's so cool. It's literally exactly what I used to feel in this place before we did any changes. When we used to come in and drink, it was just exactly what I used to love about having a tap room. And I love the fact that the beer's amazing in there. And you've also got Siren Tap Room straight across the industrial estate, which is also amazing. And you could Finch Hempstead. Who would have thought? What an amazing place to go drinking. But yeah, that's awesome. And there's plenty more. Like I love going to. My mind's gone blank. I can picture it with the Arches in London.
Colonel?
Yes, and before the new one. The new one's nice, but the Colonel originally, Bermondsey, that's what I was trying to think of. It's great to go there and you see what breweries used to do really well. And then, I love the fact that it's busy for the breweries, but it kind of then started losing its charm because people weren't brewing there anymore. They were all just basically.
And now it's a mile of bars you can go to and have a stag party. It's not what it once was. It's not what we love.
It's charm. But, yeah. So we probably need to talk about this beer, don't we? So we're not that late. We've caught 1 minute since we started the last one. So the fourth and final beer of tonight's tasting is obviously Nightmare. So ours is pretty cold because we forgot to armpit warm it and pour it earlier. But 8.5% Florentine Imperial Milk Stout. It's a mouthful. We did say earlier that it's based on last year's Fairytale, brewed to a higher ABV. So when we first brought the Fairytale and Nightmare range out, or Nightmare in particular, we used to brew to, I think it was 9.1. Was it 9.1?
9.8.
Wow, 9.8.
Because the original beer was 4.9, so we doubled it to 9.8.
And then when the taxation laws changed in the UK a few years back, duty in particular, we decided that there's no massive benefit to be gained to go from 8.5 to 9.8. You'll still get all the cool things we're trying to achieve with this beer. If we brew it to 8.5, we can make the price much more accessible. I can't remember what it was. It was like a pound per can it would have added just from brewing.
I think for our top end, really strong barrel aged stuff, it was adding about £2 a can.
Yeah.
It's like we're the best brewer in the world. Nobody's paying that. So
No.
for the difference between 8.5 and 9.8, the beer isn't going to be that much different in terms of what you're consuming. But if we made it 9.8, the price that you would have been paying would have been quite different.
And I should have just read ahead on the prompts because everything I just asked is just wrote down. But yeah, what we've done with this beer, with the Florentine, it's got cherry concentrate in it. So your initial sip, you get a little bit of cherry flavour, and then the chocolate kicks in. And almonds, I'm getting a little bit, not quite
Definitely,
as...
I get that kind of marzipan-y thing
Yeah.
that you get with almonds.
Yeah.
Mm.
So Lee's already mentioned the next point about maybe changing up the artwork enough. Changing up the artwork next year. The other thing we've toyed with is whether we keep Nightmare. And this is the controversial one because everyone likes our stronger stouts. And we were wondering because maybe we keep Nightmare, but we make it a can exclusive because the kegs just really haven't moved very well this year. Not many venues want to put a 8.5% beer on at Christmas. We do. But if we switch it to can exclusive, we'll
historically they have. This is what I mean by consumer trends have changed, and that's probably partly price driven because the cost of these things have gone up, but it's partly people not wanting to consume these kind of things anymore. And when we look at the volumes of a beer like a regular release like this that we're going to produce for the year ahead, we look at what we did last year, and we look at the split of what's sold. And then we maybe get a little bit optimistic and we go, let's do another 10% on that because we're always growing. And this year, the volume of this beer that we've sold has gone way backwards.
Cans sold out almost straight away, didn't they? And then keg, we're like, oh, it's getting a bit close to Christmas.
Yeah. And
who wants a keg?
Yeah. And the other beers in the Christmas range,
Liam.
we've almost sold out of
Can we
Fairytale.
have Nightmare
We've
in the
almost
market
sold
now?
out of Dreams. Great, because Christmas is around the corner. Nightmare, it's a bit of a nightmare,
Yeah. It's
if I may say.
It's just that there's only a finite number of venues in the UK who will stock anything above 5% in stout. So we know a lot of those venues, and that's obviously the first port of call. So if we don't sell that beer in the first round of trying to sell it, then we'll try again a bit close to Christmas, and then you're kind of stuck. And this is a bit of a challenge. And the way it's probably helped us a lot in previous years is that export market love Imperial stouts, but they need that beer way sooner than December. They need it in September.
September, I
Gets shipped across. By October, it's distributed, and then they're selling it in November, December. But once you miss the boat, as the saying goes, once you miss the boat, it's gone. We could bring it back next year if we wanted to. December next year, you can have Fairytale 2025, but we don't want to do that because we want the beer to move quicker. Now, it's probably what we should have done with hindsight is put that volume that we've got left in keg in barrels, and if we had a crystal ball, we would have done that, and that beer would have been in barrels now aging, and barrel aged Nightmare next year would have been those beers. But we've never needed to do that before. All we've done is we've brewed another batch of Nightmare just after Christmas. We put that straight into barrel, and then next year we launch it. So Pete hasn't got the microphone, so I'll just repeat what you're saying.
That's okay. You've mentioned taxes. You've mentioned that some of the beers have become available in Europe. I live most of the time in the US. Have you thought about the US and have the tariffs put you off? Has there been anything else that's been? I know that you can't do the tonka bean, which is disappointing because it's always one of my favorites. But have you otherwise thought about?
It's a good question about export and whether we've considered the US. We have. Our name alone is a big reason why we'd like to, but it's also a big hindrance to us because there's a brewery in New York who brewed a beer called Brew York. Unfortunately, they brewed it a long time after we started, but we didn't have a trademark in the US. And then we also have we know a blogger in the US, and his blog, he had all the social media handles for Brew York. Just Brew York at the time. So we were a little bit hesitant when we first started, and as we've grown as a business, we keep toying with the idea of America It's just a hard market to get into, and maybe it's time we revisited it. Whenever we go and do anything there, our beers sell really well. We just do it in such a small scale that we're only taking stuff for that event. So yeah, it's probably time to revisit it. We just have to worry about which states we can sell into and how we get our name.
And the worry always for me was, so when we first started out, we've diversified a bit now. We set out to make hoppy beers with American hops.
Yeah.
Okay, with a UK kind of like slant to it, but we were making the styles that are already done very, very well in the US that don't incur international shipping or export charges.
Yes.
So if you're already doing those phenomenally well, is there any returning us trying to ship beer out to you? And in the same way, we've seen American breweries that have had a reasonable foothold in the UK previously now retract from the UK and European markets because the quality of the beer here is elevated. And I think the gap that the US market had versus the European market, I don't think it exists anymore. So why would you pay the premium for the shipping and the imports if you can get what you like locally? And that applies both ways. You have fantastic beer there. Why do you need ours? We have fantastic beer here. Why do we need to import stuff to experience the best?
They are the big flavors. So, for example, yes, you can still get Newcastle Brown Ale, but again, they
Sam
have...
Smith.
And Sam Smith's is a big thing out there, yeah.
But again, it's, and some of the Irish ones too. I mean, that was, my local, where I am in New York, it is an Irish pub owned by an Irishman. So, but yes, I mean, again, it seems to be that one of the ways you get in, and I mentioned Newcastle Brown Ale, is because now it is one of those ones that's actually manufactured under license.
Yeah, and manufacturing license is something we've definitely considered because we brew. There's a brewery called Guaylo, a Hong Kong-based brewery, and we brew their beer in the UK. We didn't for a very brief period of time, but it's now back to us. We'll talk about that later on. But yeah, so we brew their beer in the UK because it's just not economical to brew it in Hong Kong, ship it to the UK, and sell it in the UK because the beer is great, but are you going to pay, like Lee said, are you going to pay that premium? And we've got a few people we know in the States who could brew our beer under license for us and sell it into the States. So that's probably the more realistic approach for us. Like you mentioned earlier, the thing that really appeals to a lot of breweries, people we know, is the Tonka beers. And we're like, well, we can't do that, but we can bring you some, but we can't sell it in Europe.
And we definitely have never, ever sent a beer containing Tonka to the US before. Because that would not be legal.
It's definitely not been every time we've been in the States.
Tonka beans have something in it called coumarin. So coumarin is a blood thinner. So it's kind of like warfarin. And if you were to consume it in high enough quantity, you would bleed out. So if you ate like 30 individual beans, you would bleed out and die. But I've tried to eat one. I couldn't even consume one on its own because it's pretty goddamn awful.
But he told him the fact he was going to try and eat 30 of them.
And whenever we're asked, do you need to worry about the coumarin? I said, have a go. You'll die of alcohol poisoning first. So you really don't need to worry about that. Before we move on, because I know what this man's going to say, Ian off camera has bought and I a shot. I do shots, he doesn't, but he's on camera, so he's under pressure now.
I do,
and he has to.
It depends what you've got me a shot.
So this is a honey-flavoured tequila shot.
That wasn't what I was going to ask. I was going to say, well, talking about John Coke.
Well, while you ask that,
how would you suggest that people go about using Tonka in a beer in the UK?
Really nice.
And is it possible in the US?
Do you want the lime afterwards?
Is there a similar flavour in the US?
Oh.
Is there a similar flavour to Tonka in the US? Probably not.
Nutmeg. Have a nutmeg Imperial Stout.
Yeah. Tonka is a truly unique flavour. It gives you elements of vanilla. It gives you element of almond, marzipan. It gives you elements of like sour cherry. I cannot think of one other thing that would bring all of those elements together. That's why Tonka...
An Ian shit mix where he pours everyone's leftover pints into one glass.
But that's why Tonka's kind of revered, and that's why it's used in the perfume industry. That's why it's used in high-end cooking. That's why we now use it in beer. It's truly unique. There's nothing else like it.
So we've only got 10 minutes left. It's gone quickly. Lee.
South America.
He always has them in his pocket.
So, yeah, it grows on trees in South America. Yeah.
And then it can't go north. It's illegal. You can kill people with it, apparently, if you give them 30 of them.
What I know about it is it's been a big part of the perfume industry for years and years and years because it's an incredibly aromatic ingredient that gives massive returns. You need a very tiny amount to get a huge impact of flavour. That's why we like to use it, and that's why there is no risk from coumarin, because the tiniest little bit gives the biggest impact of flavour.
One of the things I've noticed is that if you pour it regularly, probably should I be saying on camera? If you've got a permanent Toncoco line and you want to put another beer on that line afterwards, you're going to get a bit of Tonka. It's going to embed into those lines. You probably should change your lines.
Well, that's not just the Tonka. That's because we have coconut that we infuse with natural coconut, and it extracts the oils from the coconut. So over time, those oils are going to coat everything it gets in touch with, and that would then retain flavours of things like Tonka. But it's the oil from the coconut that's lining your lines.
I always remember there's a really good local pub, and I remember going in, drinking a pale ale, and I was like, "You had Toncoco on this line recently?" And he's like, "Why are you saying that?" I was like, "Because that pale doesn't taste like a pale ale. It tastes like Toncoco." And I'll tell you off camera.
Gradually, we're bringing Tonka to the world whether they like it or not.
So what's happening in 2026? There's not many days left of 2025.
Oh, now we get to talk about some exciting stuff. So
Belly pork.
I believe a certain birthday has a big birthday next year. So we turn 10 April next year. So we did say earlier that 10th of December is when we took this place on. And that's kind of when Brew York launched. But really the launch is when we opened this place, which was on the 9th of April.
9th of April.
9th of April. I did the 9 and 4 the wrong way around there. 9th of April 2016 is when this place opened. So 9th of April next year is our 10th birthday party. So we have very big and ambitious plans.
So I'm not quite as old as you. So it's getting scary because soon Brew York's going to have taken up a quarter of my life. That's a scary thought, isn't it? When how much of like
nearer to a fifth of mine.
But yeah, it's crazy, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like I can remember the stress and panic and all the rest of it when there was a band behind us, band up there, and we're trying to change the beer because Little Eagle kept selling out, and we weren't used to things moving so quickly.
Oh, I remember the panic before we opened.
When
there must have been about 8 different people screwing things into walls, painting stuff, and plumbing in toilets. Literally hours before we opened.
That is literally my life now. When every time we open a new bar, it's just like that's another time. But it's one of those things where you get used to doing something, and it's not quite as stressful as it used to be. Has anyone watched the latest series of Clarkson's Farm?
Yeah, the one where he gets the pub.
Yeah. It's so good, and I don't mean it's so good because it's like it's kind of I love seeing other people under that pressure and stress. I was like, whatever. We opened 4 bars this year, whatever. So yeah, it's good to see it. Like, and it's true. It's just all of those things all happen at once, and you don't think about any of it once the first pints are flowing. And you're like,
you know,
forgot about that. Let's move on to the next one.
I'm going to start thinking of you as like Clarkson now, because you kind of do what he does, which is we're open on that date. Well, how are we doing it? No, but we're open on that date.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's done. We need to make it work.
Now work out how it's going to.
Yeah. And it's impossible, but we'll make it possible. Yeah, well, God, yeah, suspended tractor. So really exciting. 10 years on, amazing. And what is going to be amazing is our birthday this year, or next year, 2026. So got to be bigger and better, hasn't it? 10 years in. So right now, we haven't confirmed a lot of different things other than we're having a 10th birthday, and this is the date it's going to be. There's loads more we want to confirm. What are we allowed to?
No, we are giving some teasers away. So there will be 10 different European breweries joining us for our birthday.
So we're going European this year.
Some confirmed, some not confirmed, but they will be stellar breweries. We're being.
Can you name any of the confirmed?
There's one I'm going to touch on in a minute.
Not on camera.
Yeah. There's one I'm going to touch on in a minute because I've already designed the beer with their head brewer, and I'm really super excited about that one. for obvious reasons coming shortly. So we have 10 stellar European
I can't
breweries.
tell you, but it's reassuringly expensive.
Are we making...
You said is this the Stella Brewery? So
reassuringly expensive. Oh, Stella, right, okay. Brilliant. Yeah, thank you, Carl. So yeah, we're going to have 10 big breweries, I'm not going to use that word again, joining us to pour at our beer festival. There will be 4 beers that we're going to release at the beer festival with 4 of those breweries. There will then be 6 other collab beers that then release for the subsequent 6 months. So you get 10 beers for 10 years, 4 at the birthday party launching, and then a further 6 for each of the months after. We're also, to celebrate 10 years, we're going to do 10 different versions of Empress Tonkoko next year. So
when he says going to, we have.
Oh, they're already done.
We have done 10,
we start packaging them tomorrow. I'm actually going to tell you what they are, and I'm going to do it without looking at the cheat sheet behind this. So we're going to release 3 in January, and then every other month or so, we're going to release another 7. So by the end of the year, you've had 10, for our 10 years, versions of Empress. And let's see.
Launch month.
Right. You can have this sheet.
Obviously, everyone wants an Empress. Or
You
wants
can have that sheet.
Free Empress.
You can see how I do. Let's see how I do. So there are going to be 2 different types of non-barrel aged. There will be the standard, and there will be a coffee-infused one that we're calling Espresso Empress Tonkoko.
Tick.
There are then going to be flavoured variants. So there will be brownie Empress Tonkoko, salted caramel Empress Tonkoko, and I might have missed one.
Think of Kraken.
Actually, no, I'm going to come back to that. I will get to them all eventually. Then there is going to be 3 different barrel interpretations. So we have a rum one, we have a bourbon one. You've seen both of them before. And the new one for next year, which Joanna over there is very excited about, is we have aged some in an orange brandy barrel. Yeah. And then some of that orange brandy one, we're going to put to one side, and then we're going to put some chocolate in it. And then at long last, Joanna gets her wish of a chocolate orange beer from Brew York. So that's the barrels.
2 more.
And then from the rum one, we are also going to do a spiced rum one. And we're going to also infuse it with coffee and create a Caribbean coffee.
Caribbean Coffee Empress.
Empress.
You've got them all.
Have I got them all?
That's
I
10.
I feel like I missed one.
Standard. You didn't say standard.
I did say standard at the start. Anyway, there we go.
Well done. Yes, if you're a subscriber, every version will be in there. Yeah. Of all the extra ones you want.
And then because we don't just like to do that, we like to do everything and then put the cherry on top. We're also going to do something next year that we've never done before. We're going to do 3 totally limited wax top bottles of a barley wine, a barrel-aged stout, and the golden sour that is sat over there that we made with the Origin project.
So these are basically all unique beers that are only going into bottles. There's only going to be 1,000 free packs. There are a free pack. 1,000 free packs of these bottles available. And have you told the production team?
Not all the details. I haven't told them about the hand wax tipping bit yet.
Yeah. But they're going to be super exclusive, and they're only going to be available on the birthday. So if you come to the birthday, you get a chance to buy them. If you don't...
I mean, ideally, you will be buying them in advance, and you will be given a ticket to collect them from a point at the birthday party. But there's only 1,000, and given we're expecting probably 1,500 plus people at the birthday party, not all of you are going to get to have some of this. So super exclusive.
Yeah, of course. So any subscribers, any subscribers will get their first opportunity, first refusal on these. Unfortunately, Joanna can't buy 5 packs. It will be 1 per person initially, and once we worked out how many we've got, then the birthday you might have a second chance. But Well, the second chance will be just buy it at the birthday.
Right. And now going back to Ian's question, which brewery can we confirm will be part of the first 4? 2-all. So 2-all from Denmark. And the reason I'm mentioning this one is because we're making a West Coast together. So we've already designed it. Me and Pete, the head brewer, we went through the whole recipe. And at the end of it, I said to him, I feel like I just designed a beer for me. I've not designed a beer to sell. I've designed a beer that I want to drink. And it's very rare that I get to do that. So honestly, it's not going to set the world on fire. It's not this thing with marshmallow and all this ridiculous thing. It's just a straight up West. Marshmallow, what? Jesus Christ.
Lactose Westie. Yeah, everyone's after a Lactose Westie.
So, yeah, we are going to have one thing that Wayne and I are incredibly keen to drink of those 10, the West Coast. But
yeah,
I'm sure that'll be the case with all of them.
There's going to be some really, really cool beers. And, it's always fun when we're at this stage. The stress comes a week before the birthday when we're trying to get it all ready for you all, but hopefully it'll be all lots of fun. So what else we got coming up? We've got loads of events this side of Christmas because every venue's got a New Year's Eve party of some form. So if you're going to go to your local venue, most of them, there's not much to do, just turn up. But a couple of them, they are ticketed. So upstairs in the beer hall, it's ticketed for a quiz of the year, as usual, but you can come downstairs in the tap room. There's no tickets here. York's a funny city. Everyone goes to Minster at midnight. So by about 10 o'clock, most pubs empty. So come down, enjoy it here. You're almost guaranteed a seat. It's never that busy on New Year's Eve, unless you go to the upstairs where it's ticketed and it's usually full. Carlton, I've got a ticketed New Year's Eve event on. So if you want to go to Carlton, you need to pre-book there. But pretty much every other venue we've got, there's something going on, music or quiz or something, and they're all free entry. Just turn up.
Cool. And then there was one that we've already mentioned earlier. So from Wednesday the 28th, we will have a showcase of Northeast keg beers here. Initially, that will be 80, 90 beers going on the bar on the Wednesday to enable the judging. Yeah. And then from the period through to probably the Saturday, we will have those beers on the various bars for you to be able to try. And to reiterate, the pricing will be good. We just can't tell you exactly how keen yet until we see the beer pricing.
And then pretty exciting. So we've done a fair bit of work this year with our friends in Estonia, Green Gold. So we're actually going across to Estonia, 2nd to the 9th of February. We're going to do a beer with them, and we're going to actually go and do a load of tap takeovers. And we're going to go and meet the brewer events. Imagine that. Do you remember when people used to do meet the brewers? So we're going to Estonia, which is pretty cool. They offered to take us skiing, and we were like, "What? You know what will happen? Well, one of us will break every bloody bone." Yeah, we're like.
Do you know what my biggest concern was? Well, I've not snowboarded in 15 years. I still have my board. Do you think I fit in any of that gear anymore? So
you know, like the really bright 80s gear.
And it was going to be one day going from Estonia to Austria, and I would have had to buy an entire new wardrobe to more than likely go and break my leg. So, yeah, we said, do you mind if we don't do that?
Let's go to a few bars and stuff. Did he say Australia?
Estonia. I do mean Slovenia. Why are we saying Estonia? Because I've written on there Estonia.
Oh, did I say Estonia as well? Wow.
Yeah, no, that's my error.
That's me blind leading the blind here.
Okay. And do you know why that is? Because
one of the breweries we're working with. Yeah. Well, good luck guessing who that is.
Yeah, one of the breweries coming to the birthday party is Estonian. And I've obviously... No, not that one. You mean the one that went golfing? Yeah. No. For that reason.
So in March we're we're very, very hopeful. We're going to launch the Dual Market Hall. Very hopeful, and I'm very confident it's going to be absolutely effing amazing. The music and sound system in there is going to be immense. We're going to get as many amazing bands as possible. If we can't get any amazing bands, Pete's going to do a open mic session, and he's going to Pete's an amazing singer, songwriter, guitarist. He'll do everything. And if all else fails,
you've got 4 months, Pete, to learn all of that.
Ian's going to jump on and do Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. What else are we doing? What are we doing in April?
Well, haven't you skipped one? Did you not mention that one?
Yeah, just literally
Oh,
exactly
shit.
what I've just been talking
Right.
about.
Right,
It's that
right,
time, isn't
right.
it?
Yeah, I think it is about time we wrap
It's
up.
almost 10 past.
So we are near the end. So yeah, the final thing we have to mention is our 10th birthday party on the 17th and 18th of April. Tickets are selling quickly. There are still some available. So get onto our website, get them as soon as you can. I think the pricing goes up on the 1st of January. So if you want them cheap, get them now. Otherwise, you're going to pay a little bit more from the 1st of January.
The other thing also worth mentioning is we got a little bit of... We loved the last birthday. We thought it worked really well. We restricted it to just one side of our brewery, and we loved the fact it felt busier. It felt I don't know, a little bit more
Intimate.
And then quite a few people said they'd love it to be back at 2 sites again. We would as well, but if we're going to go to 2 sites, we need more people, and we do. We need to. We restricted it to, was it 500 tickets per session last year? We really need to be up about 700 per session to want to use both sites to spread the people, to get the bands, the music, the bars over both sites. So if you want it to be across both sites, then tell all your friends, get them to come along. I'm sure we can, and we'd love it to be across both sites. But yeah, we just need that little bit of a boost.
So I know we're probably slightly after time, but we will take last couple of questions if anybody has them before we go. Have you had any online, Pete?
Yeah, I've got 1 or 2.
Well,
Take
Yeah.
this one over.
Ian first.
Shameless plug. How are you booking bands for next year? Because I might be in a band.
How are we booking bands? Ask that man right there.
it's the next year. Oh, you mean for Ghoul or you mean for our birthday? Both. Speak to him.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got 2 appropriately festive questions. So first one is from Emma Thomas, and she says,
Hi, Emma.
when are you releasing the Brew York Christmas jump away?
I know. Well, the thing is, I had to put this one on because I got a Griswold t-shirt I ordered, but it didn't turn up from China in time.
Yeah, no what?
So Griswold's National Lampoons.
Oh. Do you know that's one Christmas film I've never got on with? I don't enjoy that one.
When he's chewing the turkey, it's my favourite scene in the film ever. But yeah, the Christmas one, I was thinking today, and I was put this one, I was like, we need Tonk Ho Ho Ho, I got a machine gun, and you need that and Goose Willis in one t-shirt. Or jumper.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
That'd be fucking awesome. So it is a Christmas. When we rebranded Goose Willis as Yes, It Is a Christmas Movie a few years back, and people need to realise that it is. So next year, and Andrew, you made notes. We need our Christmas jumper for next year.
And we need like at least 3 XLs, possibly 4 XLs.
Hopefully not 4.
In fact, I've got a better idea. We need elasticated.
Yeah.
Joanna, did you have a question? You had your hand up a second ago. Have you forgotten now? She's forgotten now.
We've got one more
Right.
festive question. So, traditional question, what are you guys going to be drinking on Christmas Day?
Lager.
Oh,
apparently.
do you know what I normally drink on Christmas Day? And I've probably missed the shipping deadline for now. Colonel. Yeah. I haven't ordered any.
Oh, you're in trouble.
I mean, I do have about 3 bottles of Colonel left, so I could still drink some Colonel.
Go to.
I just can't drink as much as normal.
I know where there's some good beers in that cold store. You can.
No, I've got a vast collection in there of Belgian sour beers. So, yeah, but masses of Christmas food, already playing around with my indigestion, combined with Belgian sour beer.
You can use
actually, I did bring some really good Tum-Tums back from America, so I might be okay.
American indigestion tablets are so good.
I will show you.
I'm going to drink. I'm going to all grain there. So I'm going to drink loads of Brew York beer, obviously, at Christmas. And then when I go for my Christmas dinner, I'm going to drink lager because they don't do much other than lager. But I'll enjoy it anyway.
The Pearly Cow. There you go. Yeah.
It's going to be nice. So amazing. Thanks, guys, for coming down. Thanks for joining us in the audience. Thanks for tuning in at home on a Tuesday or watching us on replay. We will not wait 4 months for the next one. It'll be 3 months.
Yeah, we can't make a
commitment
as to when, but yeah, it won't be as long next time, so sorry about that.
Thanks, guys, and cheers. Happy Christmas. Finally go to the toilet now. We both made it through the whole